disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well, welcome everybody to another BD Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I'm glad everybody out there is in here enjoying the last, I would say, weeks of summer here. Still pretty humid where I'm at here in Canada, but we still bring you a fantastic show. There's a lot to talk about, fellas. Very special show. We've got a fight on Saturday, heavyweight fight. I'm curious to hear people's thoughts on the fight itself, the implications, long-term implications going in, and how many people are actually going to buy it. That's what I'm interested in hearing as well. So we're going to be opening up the phone lines in about 40-45 minutes, depending on how everything goes. We also have to talk about certain moves, power moves being made in the boxing world, and about certain comments made by certain boxers. So we're going to look at all of that, right, fellas? So stay tuned for that. Before we get down to the fun, don't forget, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, spread the BDA gospel. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you can certainly line those up via the super chat feature. But the most important thing is that you join the BDA membership program. That's even better. That way you get more bang for your buck with special emojis, badges, the whole shebang. But like I said before, actually the most important thing is that you continue to like, subscribe, and to support us by listening. All right, fellas? And I want to give a big super shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I'm talking about Super Sardonic, Don Ramon Champ, Carl the Hunter, the Crazy Aussie, Hansen, Iceman, Steve Lopez, Not, Baldy 250, Rex in the house as well, the Quags in the house as well. Shout out to the Quags, Plutonium Loach, Steve Lopez, Steel. How many more people to come? I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Speaking of joining us, I got Jimmy and the Chief joining us. Fellas, you there?
Hello.
All right, what is it with Jimmy? He's interested. Hey, by the way, Jimmy, good job, man, that we did there on the Tank Davis video. Remember that conversation?
Yes, you dropped it last night. I saw that. Yeah,
last night. A lot of people are enjoying it. Yeah, a lot of people are enjoying it, and they want more of that type of segment. So let's start cooking up a little ideas. Put your noodle to the test, and we'll see what we come up with for the next one.
Hey, with our noodles combined, no stopping us.
We make one big noodle, man, that's for sure. But, well, listen, this Saturday, we've got, what do we got? Well, first of all, on Friday, we've got Juan Francisco Estrada taking a tune-up because the plan is for him to fight Chocolatito this year. They're hoping that could happen if indeed he wins. But it's a big risk, if you ask me, taking a fight this close to the end of the year. But apparently that's the way they're doing it. So that's what's going to be happening there. And then, of course, on Saturday, we've got the big tamale. Literally, big tamale. Two big guys, Andy Ruiz taking on Luis Ortiz, Isaac Cruz versus Eduardo Ramirez, who beat Mariaga, I believe, in his last fight. And then you got Jose Layo Valenzuela against Jezreel Corrales. And for some reason, Abner Mares is returning. A very good card if it weren't pay-per-view. So let me ask you, fellas. First of all, which one of you is buying this one?
Well, you know I'm not.
All right.
I mean, I've talked about this before. So when it comes time for, I don't have anything against this card being made. I don't have against anything fighters making a living and trying to put things out there.
Of course.
But this is at the most boxing after dark HBO, which we don't have anymore. The equivalent is Showbox, but these guys aren't up-and-comers. And there is no more USA Tuesday Night Fights, and ESPN doesn't subsidize fights anymore outside of for ESPN Plus. So they have to try and make this somehow. So they put it on the fan to subsidize it that way through pay-per-view. This is not a pay-per-view worthy fight. It just is not. It is not. There's no way to validate it. I don't care if they lower the price down to $10. It's just not pay-per-view worthy. It should be on regular TV / premium on an early time, nothing mainstream, high event, or anything else, because there's just not enough intangible factors for these guys to be, it's not enough. Let's put it this way. Is someone going to be a number one mandatory contender for a title fight in any major weight class against any major champion from winning the fights coming up on this card?
And by the way, my apologies. The fight is taking place on Sunday. I forgot about that Sunday, and I believe it's going up against football. I believe
that's even worse.
That's even. I mean, yeah.
So they don't even. Well, first of all, by putting up against football, you already know you're going to lose. So because very few things beat football these days, and especially cards that on things that don't matter. So again, like I said, is anyone going to get a major shot against a major opponent within their division off of the winners of these fights? And I don't believe the answer to that's going to be yes. So is it a terrible card? No. Is it pay-per-view worthy? Absolutely not. I'm not going to buy it. I'll watch it later. But it's like we've talked about before, we watch what we love, and I don't have time to waste fights on pay-per-view. If this were on HBO, premium, even Showtime, premium network, to where it's something where I can watch it again later if I miss it, then that's one thing. But I have to shell money out past what my subscription that I already have towards something to try and buy something that's not really going to amount to a hill of beans out of anyone's career. It's not going to make anyone a major mandatory. No one's going to get a giant title shot. It's not a bunch of mandatories that we're salivating to see if the winner, because we're dying to see either guy fight the champion in their division next. It's just not pay-per-view worthy. So no, I'm not going to buy it.
Well, there you go. That's one boxing fan who will not be purchasing the fight. Jimmy, I suspect you're going to have a different answer.
Yes, it's different. But the outcome's the same. No, absolutely not. I'm not an asshole. I'm not buying that thing. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Listen, this is because they don't have any network or a platform to put it on, and he's got too many fighters signed. And the fact it's on a Sunday night, to think about being that fighter, right? Okay, all right, I got you guys a slot. Okay, it's going to be all in, your pay is going to be almost 100% lined up with your buys, your pay-per-view buys. So I'm going to slash the price of the pay-per-view and put it on a Sunday night. Last time they put a pay-per-view on a Sunday night was Santa Cruz, Tank, versus Santa Cruz, and did under 52,000. I heard it was the highest end by, people said so. Yeah, no, it's not a good idea. It's not a pay-per-view worthy fight. But then again, what is lately by the PBC? It's out of necessity, not out of because the fight deserves to be. It's just they have no option. They don't have any money to finance them or a platform to put them on. So here you go, 100%. Now he just expects fans to finance the trash he used to pay to put on networks. Sorry.
Well. No, that's okay. I expected an answer from both of you fellas. With that being said, I am going to watch the fight, but I'm not going to be paying for it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be illegally streaming it. No, sorry, Bob. That would be highly illegal. What I would be doing, perhaps, is maybe go to a bar, watch that one, maybe go to a friend's house, or maybe I'll watch it the next day, somehow, some way. Maybe some friend of mine is going to DVR it for me, but I will not be paying for it. I'm boycotting the PBC. I've been boycotting it for the past 3 weeks now, and that's just the way it goes. You can't charge premium for mediocre product. I want to give a shout out to Colin Bush in the chat. He says, Snicker Boy, talking about Ruiz, will smash the old man easy. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the matchup itself. We've got Andy Ruiz, already 32 years old, which I suppose could be young by heavyweight standards, standing at 6 feet 2 inches tall. He's got a record of 34 wins, 2 losses, 22 knockouts. But it's really, he's only fought once in the past, 3 years? And it was a less than sensational performance against an old Chris Arreola. Now he's taking on another old man, Luis Ortiz, who almost got taken out by King Charles Martin. Fellas, I got to ask you, this fight, yes, Luis Ortiz is older by 11 years, maybe even older, depending on what their shenanigans they're doing there with the records. But Ruiz fights at an old man's pace. He's got young man's hand speed, but he fights at an old man's pace. Because of that, what are the chances that Ortiz could pull this one away?
It would be absolutely devastating to Ruiz's career if he loses to him. I mean, come on. The guy's probably closer to 50 than he is 40. We all know that. Mm-hmm. The Cubans, they don't have... That's one of the benefits of coming out of Cuba. Your birth, But, Jesus, I don't know. Unless they're allowed to have oxygen tanks at the corner, like they do in the football lines. I mean, at some point, you almost say to yourself, Jesus Christ, you start getting to the point where, man, why you keep doing this? I mean, you need the money that bad, but I don't know. His best victory is Brian Jennings. He was dubbed the boogeyman because he did have power. He had the Cuban. You can tell he's got some boxing skills, moves decent for a big guy. But if he threw as many punches as he does spitting while he's boxing, he'd do much better. But, I mean, no, he does nonstop. Guarantee he spits on his opponents. But, that skeeves me a little bit. But when the guys fight and they spit while they're boxing. But, So, no, it's... Ruiz should win, and the fact that he's been stopped twice by Wilder. If he doesn't stop him, then it calls his power into question. Does he really have any power? But that's pretty much my say on that.
Well, I've been saying for a while that Ruiz is overrated. He had a good win. I mean, he had wins. He wasn't like in his one loss going into the Joshua fight was. I won't say it was controversial, but it was close. I get that. But his record shows the fact he's not a power puncher. He may have fast hands, but he doesn't have fast feet to go with him. So when you have a guy with any kind of movement that can get out of range of his shots, he has to get close enough to throw his combinations, and he's short for today's heavyweight. You take him back 20 years ago, he might have been competitive, but a majority of them are 6'4" or taller, and they are somewhat rangy, even though Ortiz is stocky for 6'4". So Ruiz is just, I'm sorry, he's never impressed me. Just because he beat Joshua and became the first Mexican-American or Mexican lineage heavyweight champion ever, congratulations, one, because you did deserve it. You won that night. You haven't done anything since, and you didn't really do much before. Luis Ortiz, I thought, one of my friends that I keep mentioning, but I don't mention his name, kept saying that was the boogeyman because there ain't nobody beating him outside of the top guys because he was the best of the blah, 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 blah. Overrated is the bottom line. Because if PBC really saw something in him, they don't like to play with anyone else, but they sure did send Andy Ruiz over to Anthony Joshua, didn't they? Why? They had nothing to lose.
That's a good point.
So why didn't they send Ortiz over? Because he had enough ranking and just enough to be able to keep putting him in with Wilder that they would have had someone to lose if he went over there. He may not have been a champion, but he was still a tool to their organization. So why haven't they put him in with Anthony Joshua, even though he was ranked number one by the WBA? Why have they never tried to get him in with a WBO shot? Why did they never try to get him a shot with Tyson Fury? Why have they not get him in with anyone other than Deontay Wilder?
I mean,
because
that's how
he was obviously an asset to keep.
That's the way they do it over there at the PBC. They don't want to match any other prime fighters because Wilder. At the end of the day, people are still thinking that Joshua's the one that avoided Wilder. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but Wilder himself said in a tweet that he fought Fury and refused a bigger purse against Joshua to fight Fury. And I suspect that was Shelly Finkel and maybe some of the other PBC brain trusts who said, you know what, take on this guy. You already dropped him twice. Maybe you can drop him again. Whereas with the devil, he's already been there with Fury. They don't know how Wilder was going to look against Joshua, so they prefer to put him in there against Fury. And like you said, they'll pimp out the Mexicans and send them abroad and see if they get lucky with that. So you're right. We'll get Gonzalo dropping by as well. Gonzalo, good to hear from you. I thought you were gone the last stream you did. But what's your prediction here on Ruiz versus Ortiz? What type of fight can Ortiz steal the fight at the old man's pace?
I like how Andy Ruiz is looking and training. He's on the tip of his toes along with his trainer, Martin Zamudio. Look, Luis Ortiz is 45 years old.
43.
And he's real slow. He's real ponderous. And hold on. Jesus, what the fuck is this? And And Deontay Wilder allowed him to work at his pace. Deontay Wilder hardly threw any shots. And Luis Ortiz was working, was landing shots. He was collapsing the pocket, and Deontay Wilder got into position, aligned him for that perfect right hand, and knocked him out. But until that point, Luis Ortiz was working comfortably, and Deontay Wilder wasn't doing anything. So that's why Luis Ortiz was looking a little bit more lively and was working at a pace that was better than Deontay Wilder's. Yes, but okay. We're talking about Andy Ruiz, a younger man who's giving up like the last 3 years by hardly fighting anybody except like maybe one guy in the rematch against Anthony Joshua where he was weighing around 300 pounds. I like Andy Ruiz at 270, bouncing off the tip of his toes, and with the speed, at 270 he's going to create some power because speed creates power. And I think he's a good fighter, but he's kind of like a little bit of a wasted talent. With the PBC protection plan, but I mean, he already had left ESPN, so what are we going to do? He probably should have signed with the Zone, but anyways, I want to see how he does. Anything better than what he has shown in the last 2 fights, I'm going to be curious to see what it is. Right? I want to see him do better.
You know what, man? You just hit on something there. Fucking Ruiz reminds me a little bit of Zab Judah. He's got a lot of talent, especially for his division. He's very quick, and he does have power. But it's almost like, when he steps it up, when he lets his hands go, he's done it once against Anthony Joshua. I mean, the fact that he struggled against Chris Arreola and couldn't take him out, whereas all other guys that have beaten Arreola, save for Adamic, stopped him. I don't know, man. It's just doesn't bode well for Ruiz. But like I said, both guys are more or less hot and cold fighters. So maybe this Ruiz that can stop him shows up. I don't know. I'm expecting a tense affair. Both guys trying to... by the way, Jimmy, did you break this fight down or...
What's that?
Have I asked you?
I gave my opinion. And you're right. That him taking on Arreola, part of the problem when you take on an old, drag some dude out of retirement who has no relevancy to the sport just to give you busy and get you a payday, right? There's a little karma with that. You end up looking like shit against him. That completely tarnished him. It just did. It just took the wind out of it. Was like, wow, okay. Like you did, to your point, you didn't stop a dude. I mean, Arreola's a tough dude, don't get me wrong, but I mean, dude's old, he's been through too many wars, he's been stopped. When you've been stopped that many times, it doesn't, your will can be broken a lot easier. It's not the first time you've been stopped, usually the hardest. And it wouldn't have taken much to stop Arreola. It's just he didn't even give that much. What little he needed to give to stop him, it just was beyond him, which is usually conditioning. I would imagine he just wasn't in the condition to give it his all. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's the problem with Ruiz. He fights at an old man's pace. He should really step it up. Still, if I'm a Ruiz opponent, I don't take this guy lightly, man. Do not take him lightly. You overcommit against him, he's going to counter with those 3-punch volleys that he throws, and you might not make it out. You might not make it a distance against him. With that being said, the winner could potentially face the winner of Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius. By the way, before we continue, shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution with the super chat. He says, BDA, I hope you like the 3 dragons meme on Twitter. I think I saw that one when you said BDA, somebody else, and then the third dragon was a retarded dragon, I think, but I already forgot who he was that you were making fun of. But shout out to Kenshiro, thank you for your contribution. So with Helenius, okay, first of all, that's the other thing. Wilder and Helenius just had their press conference. The most entertaining part of that press conference was actually Durrell and Plant going at it. We're going to talk about that later. But when it comes to Helenius and Wilder, none of them showed up. They showed up via a satellite on a screen on the podium. Wilder didn't have much to say other than the usual Wilder gobbledygook, like, the heart does the thinking, but not the brain. It's actually the heart that operates when the body says no. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck have you been? It's a little too early in the morning maybe to be smoking ganja in front of a whole audience. But that's what he did. Helenius didn't have much to say. Okay, well, you're right. But Helenius, on the other hand, he looked like a bounty hunter, and he was only spitting out one-word answers. But that was the press conference. Guys, if Ortiz wins, how likely is it that he gets pitted against Wilder should he win? I mean, a rubber match, would that really fucking sell?
Who? Now, just imagine trying to pitch that, bro. Imagine to the powers to be at Showtime. You know that fight you wanted nothing to do with 4 years ago that lost over $15 million in pay-per-view? How would you like a crack at a third one? Listen, hear me out. Nobody's asking for it. I get it. But here's the angle. Like, seriously, it's absurd. But what are they going to do with them? They're going to have to do something. I kind of like that, the fact that, I mean, the way this Usyk Tyson Fury fight, I mean, if you guys are following, it looks like it's going to happen as early as the spring of next year, which to me is just awesome, because I despised the thought of him just handing that belt over and making this a, you know, just basically handing it back over to the PBC to be left, you know, held hostage. So, but that's just my thought on that.
Hey, man, hopefully that happens. I mean, we're still hearing. There's a rumor going around for, you know, the 50th rumor in the past 2 weeks that supposedly they're going to announce Errol Spence Crawford on this upcoming Sunday fight. Talking about the Ruiz Ortiz card. But I mean,
but that would have been leaked by now. I heard that same thing, brother. But don't you think that would have been leaked if that was true? How do they hold something like that quiet for a week? Plus, with you know, getting closer to the holidays, people need, you got to give people enough time to like get their stuff in order, like vacation days, whatever it is. I don't see that being the case. If they did make it and they sit on that information for a week, that's asinine. It's one of those things. Once the contracts are signed, the ink's on it, you announce it. You get it out there immediately. I don't understand. That's suspect to me. That's all I'm saying.
Well, first on the Ortiz Wilder thing, should there a fourth fight or third? What should they even waste their time of mentioning themselves in the same breath again? No. The other two fights were bad. They were entertaining, but it's not going to enhance anyone's legacy. It's like the third fight between James Toney and Mike McCallum. It didn't matter. Mike McCallum had already lost to Roy Jones. He was at the end of his rope. It was just one more fight, and didn't even make premium TV. It was on like Fox South. It wasn't, but because they're two Hall of Famers, it's a terrible way those two should have had their third fight against each other. And this would be something similar. They would make more out of it. It would probably be pay-per-view because, like Jimmy says, PBC has no real platform. Showtime gives them a budget in March or February. They announce their fights in March. It lasts you through the summer. Then they have very little of anything else. Fox is doing nothing with PBC as far as any real pay-per-views are going, but I think they're holding out for the fight between Spence and Crawford as their last business fight, because Showtime's not saying that they're trying to promote it or go along with it, which in a nutshell, coming back to that fight along with PBC, is they have no more platforms. They have Fox that we don't know what they want to do with him. This is supposedly the last year, and they've only done one fight so far they know of, and that was Thurman Barrios. That was their only pay-per-view to my knowledge. Everything else has been Showtime. Showtime's not saying anything about the fact, we're hoping we're going to get this together and, you know, get this together, but they're not making any qualms about the fact that they're saying that they hope it's going to be on their network. So from Wilder, Ortiz, no network to show it on, so it'll be pay-per-view, over to the other one. Neither one has sold a combined 600,000 pay-per-view fights. Why are you going to sit on that and try and spend all this a month and a half to promote it when you're going to need every bout you can get to try and make sure this is going to cash in for what everyone's hoping it will become? There's no signs based off of the negotiations, what they've been paid, and what they've brought in, that this is going to be a Trinidad De La Hoya or anything lower than that of a major super fight. So why are you going to wait and keep that under silence and think that when you launch it on maybe an NFL Sunday Fox show that it's going to, or this boxing show, that, oh my goodness, it's going to change everyone's minds that 1 million people are going to buy it now? Who's your marketer? Who convinced you that's a good idea?
Well, now that brings me to something here, Jimmy. I remember Vargas Trinidad was a super fight, and that took place in December. Hatton versus Mayweather, December. Marquez versus Pacquiao for December. So they do make certain fights on the last month of the year, but is that something that they prefer to avoid, or?
Well, every sport event, that's nobody ever really holds their championships in the month of December, because you're coming off of Thanksgiving, which is the busiest holiday for travel, traditionally in the United States. Then there's obviously Christmas, when everybody's spending whatever funny money they have usually. And boxing's a blue-collar sport, so people have any, extra cash kicking around, it usually goes towards Christmas. So traditionally they don't like to put on, especially pay-per-views around the holidays because people have less money. And if you look at the numbers, pay-per-views in and around Christmas or December or anything after usually Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving until the New Year's. They try to stay away from that. Traditionally, don't do as well as fights in pre-summer or Cinco de Mayo.
Well, that brings me to that point. Then it brings me to that point that we've got Crawford versus Spence, which a lot of people are saying, yourself included, it's not gonna do the numbers they're thinking. I mean, Triple G Canelo still remains the biggest fight of the year so far in terms of being announced. So the fact that they would hold it on December, which you're saying is not generally inducive of or conducive to a mega box type of affair. I don't know, man. I hope. Listen, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope that fight happens. But I'm already cynical. I've already developed an armors for so that if it doesn't happen, I'll be like, well, I didn't expect it.
And they're not going to want it to happen anytime around Triple G Canelo 3 because, you know what I mean, they're not going to follow that up. So, sorry, Chief, you were saying?
No, you're absolutely right. And BDA, you brought that up a good point. So let's first rewind to Trinidad Vargas. One, the economy was a little bit better back then. It was was just before it was the end of Clinton, before the .com burst bubble. Historically speaking, before the economy went kind of sideways and down, so it was still riding high. We were used to boxing year round. It wasn't seasonal, like some stations call it now. And those were two of the top premier fighters at the time that everybody, household names, all knew. Pretty much, Spence and Bud are boxing heads fighters. Some people know them outside of boxing, but they're not huge mainstream guys. We're in a recession. That's number two. Ooh. Number three, you're following a fight that's in a. Well, I'm not going to go too far into that, but yes, we're somewhat in a recession, and it may get worse as time goes on. So people, like Jimmy said, aren't going to have a whole bunch of extra cash to pitch in for that when they've probably already bought Triple G Canelo.
That's an excellent
point. Talking about the Clinton era, sideways and down. I started thinking about Monica Lewinsky.
Okay, come on. I can tell her that's not. You have bad thoughts in your mind, man. What's the matter with you? Evil thoughts. Get them out of your mind, man.
Wrong kind of fighting.
But, well, I mean, listen, by the way, shout out to Rafael Garza for renewing the BDA membership program. Shout out to Rafael. He says, the PBC is applying the Saul Alinsky rules for radicals unboxing. Oh, come on. Well, it's starting to turn into fucking Fox News over here. But shout out to Rafael. Really appreciate your support, man. And shout out to Jay Nels for his contribution with the super chat. He says, wow, $75 on PBC Fox. Yeah, we're talking about the Ortiz Ruiz fight. That is indeed $75 Ruiz. And by the way, going back to the Ortiz versus Ruiz fight, Ruiz says that, no, Ortiz, I'm sorry. Ruiz is very dangerous, but my hands are just as fast. Is he being delusional? Has he been smoking too much ganja himself, just like Wilder, or what's going on here?
Luis said that?
That's right.
I mean, he's sudden. He's sudden. He can land a punch like he did against Prince Charles, where it's a subtle, just gonna time you in between counter puncher, and just gonna, I'm gonna slip that one in and catch you every now and then. But no, sustained speed, where he's putting the punches. No, that's not Luis Ortiz. He's too big. He's too old. But that being said, yeah, he's a counter puncher, and Andy Ruiz is also. So it's gonna be a battle of who slips up first, who's able to catch who first.
Hey, but,
that
okay,
way, maybe he can land before Andy Ruiz.
So is this going to be Ortiz's pinpoint timing against speed?
That's right. I believe so.
Right. I was about to ask that. Are you saying that Ortiz's quickness is equal to Ruiz, but like you said, sustained speed of multiple punches at a time, that still goes to Ruiz, right?
Well, maybe not even punch for punch. But just the fact that he could time you, and like BDA said, he could slip that one punch in between your two, depending on the distance that he and the timing. Basically, the timing, right? He can just catch you. It's like playing slap hands. When I put my hands, you put your hands on top of mine. And all of a sudden, I could throw my hand and catch you like a slow slap, and just time you at the perfect time. Where I don't know if you ever played that game, like when you were an adolescent. He can do that in the sense that Luis Ortiz got good timing. he can catch you with a shot that even though it might be slow, it just catches you. So like he did against Prince Charles and many times before.
Well, let me tell you, man, it's gonna be an interesting fight.
Isn't he a southpaw too? I'm sorry.
Ortiz? Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So he can hide that left hand. So it's harder to see coming. That helps him to his benefit.
Listen, both guys have been hot and cold. Ortiz, I can't remember the last time. I mean, he has some stoppages here and there, but then he'll look awful like against, who was it? Christian Hammer, I think it was, that he looked bad against. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's this fight should not be pay-per-view. And the fact that we're talking about it just goes to show how degenerate we are when it comes to boxing, as being boxing fans. That being said, we're going to move on. You guys want to say anything else about that fight, or?
I'm really not looking forward to is Plant on the undercard too on that?
No, that's on the
fight?
That's for the Wilder fight.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's going to be another $75 pay-per-view. So think about that. If they were to make the Croft Spencer, right? So from now, we're almost in September. So within, it'd be 75. So yeah, we're looking at, what, $225 before tax for 3 fights that nobody was asking for.
A paper bust. That's how they should call it. I wonder what it's going to do to the already dwindling. I wonder what this is going to do to the other already dwindling PBC coffers. I mean, this is insane, man, that they're putting all of this on pay-per-view. They can't be making money off of this. But by the way, Jimmy, I went to... yeah, go ahead, Gonzalo.
One last thing, Pete. I don't think that fight's going to be that exciting either. It's just 2 counterpunchers. A lot of like jostling for position or posturing. A lot of posturing, a lot of like feints. And whoever makes the first mistake, until then, somebody's going to throw a punch. And it's going to be pretty much that. Until the fight will probably like break out, obviously, like in the latter rounds. But it's going to be kind of like stale, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting too. That's why for the price. I mean, look, listen, let's touch upon here a little bit briefly the undercard. Isaac Cruz versus Eduardo Ramirez. You can tell that they're trying to pit the winner against Tank Davis. They're hoping probably that it's Isaac Cruz because he's already got a history with Tank Davis. Eduardo Ramirez had a win. I think his last fight was against Mariaga. But then again, at this point, Mariaga, he's become a stepping stone. Then you got Rayo Valenzuela versus Jezreel Corrales, who used to be a titleist at some point, but he too has become a bit of a stepping stone. So, and then Abner Maris. By the way, there's people in the chat that are saying that Abner Maris, if he wins, they're going to put him up against Tank Davis. That would be abhorrent, especially if Maris looks rusty in that fight. Hey, by the way, shout out to...
I thought Abner Maris lost like almost vision in his eye. Was it him who had the real bad eye injury?
Well, I mean, listen...
They didn't clear him for a fight?
Isn't Al Heyman the one that also let what's his name, Lehman Brewster, with a white guy fight?
Yes, let him fight. The doctor said not to, and he ended up losing eyesight.
Well, there you go. So yeah,
is that why he's always wearing the dark glasses?
Hey, maybe that's a good point.
Probably, yeah, light probably aggravates his eye. Usually, when you have an injury to your eye, a lot of times bright light will give you a headache.
If that's the case, Joe should really apologize to Abner Maris because he's really been on Maris's case for wearing sunglasses during a telecast. And he says that and I quote, Joe said that he was an absolute embarrassment to him and other Mexicans. But if he's wearing them for a reason, Joe, I know you're listening, or I hope you're listening. I think you owe Mr. Maris an apology. How about that? I think you should call in and apologize. Get on your knees. I want to hear your knees touching the ground. And you apologizing, all right? Otherwise, anything less than that, unacceptable. By the way, shout out to Leonardo Campos Vasquez for his contribution with the Super Chat. No, actually, sorry, excuse me. Tony Boswell for his contribution to the Super Chat. Tony really appreciated one of the top sports in the YouTube boxing community. He says, much respect to BDA and the chat. Stopped in to show support and hit the like button. Just got off work. Salute. Well, salute right back at you, Tony. Really appreciate you listening in. And thank you for the contribution.
Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Hey, Tony. Shout out to Leonardo Campos Vasquez for renewing his BDM membership program as well. And he says, Ruiz versus Ortiz are both bums. Sam the Candyman Hyde KOs both of them on the same night. I agree. Listen, the Candyman's on the prowl. He called out the Piker. What's his name? Hassan Piker or whatever. And Hassan was hiding.
Yeah.
He was hiding on his stream, timing people out. even his own subscribers and donors. He's blocking them because he's afraid of the Candyman, and the Candyman was very explicit. He's going to be on the prowl for him in and outside the ring, and he says he'll be content whether they get into a fight outside or inside the ring. So this guy's running scared. So shout out to Leonardo Campos Vasquez for pointing that out, and shout out to Rider of the Storm as well for his contribution with the super chat. He says the battle between torta ahogada and torta cubana. Oh, that's true, the battle of the tortas, and not for nothing, but Ortiz in the latest pictures I saw, he looks like he's got tits. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with having tits, but it just goes to show he's getting old. You can't. We're all going to be falling victim to Father Time eventually. We can't keep it that way.
Yep.
So there's no shame in that, but it does let you know that 43 years old, maybe older, not looking good. Not looking good for Ortiz.
But hey, I just want to say real quick because I don't think I mentioned over the weekend that kid Richard Torres. What was that, his third fight? Whew. Might be on the smaller side of lightweight. I mean, a heavyweight. That kid's got fast hands and he hits hard.
Mm-hmm,
you see him put that dude out with that 3-punch combo Saturday night? Oh, that was devastating. Pretty interesting cat, too. Sorry.
I said I had to be right back. A friend of mine that was just stationed with me before he transferred was talking to me about Jared Anderson. I responded back to him real quick while you guys were talking about Torres that may be the star on the rise. Now, lighter side, early in his career, a lot to try and work out, a lot of improvements to be made on both sides, but he doesn't have the flaws that Anderson's got. He doesn't stand with his feet square. He doesn't square. Basically, a lot of the things I've said about Tank Davis are the flaws with Jared Anderson. I don't see this with this Torres kid.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Anderson, he looks flashy, but you gotta wonder, he was... Listen, I know people say, well, this is boxing, you're supposed to get hit. Yeah, but there's a certain degree where a prospect who is being matched carefully and he's already getting hit that much, and that's what happened to him on Saturday. This past Saturday. He did the right thing, by the way. This guy was swinging wild, catching him, and so Jared Anderson stepped back a little bit, let him swing wildly, tired him out in less than 2 rounds, and then took him out. But you might be right there, Chief. The quality...
I do like how Jared Anderson wields his combinations from the shoulder, and he throws the skinny punches like Timothy Bradley was saying. They're not wide at all. He just keeps them like when he meant skinny was like the opposite of wide, like really close to the shoulder, and pierce and then throws them like really straight. Wow! And he wasn't from the shoulder. He doesn't throw arm punches. For a small heavyweight by today's standards, he throws a combination with the shoulders, and he throws them skinny, close to the body. So anything that the opponent does, it provides a little bit of where if the opponent throws wide, he gets in between his punches, and it throws them for power from kind of the remains to the inside. So I believe Jared Anderson is good. Do I like some of his the antics and like fucking out the ring, like entrances and stuff? No, is he kind of cringy like Adrian Broner? Yes. Does he have some flaws? Yes, he gets hit too. But Richard Torres has been knocked out too by Jalalov in the amateurs. I saw that, man. He planted face first. He was fucking knocked out unconscious. But we'll see.
But wasn't he doing well in that fight?
Who's that? Jared Anderson?
Torres against Jalalov.
I don't know. He just got knocked out like in the first round.
I think he was doing well.
He couldn't get on the inside. The dude was too large. I was too tall. I think Jalalov like 6'6".
Right.
It's just too small, but he was a teenager too. He wasn't as thick as he is today. As stout.
We'll see what happens. This ain't the amateurs anymore. This ain't the amateurs. Now they're fighting with 10-ounce gloves, and it's go time. So,
Anderson reminds me a little bit of Riddick Bowe. Bowe had better feet, but they have very similar combinations and upper body athleticism when it comes to putting combinations together, knocking people out. And Bowe got hit a lot throughout his career, even on the way up, and even as champion, which is why his career was so short. He just, when you're getting hit by, when you're getting staggered by Terrell Biggs, I mean, on the way up, you can say it's just because he's young. But then when you're getting hit a lot by Tony Tubbs, and then when you're getting hit a lot by Herbie Hyde, and you're getting hit a lot by Evander Holyfield, and you're getting the list just goes on. When you keep getting hit a lot by these guys, these are heavyweights. Even Buster Mathis, as pillow-fisted as he was a 230-pound guy. Your brain starts moving around inside. It takes a toll. And you're right, with Anderson getting hit this much, if they don't fix some of these things. But his biggest problem is his feet. They slide all over the place. They're never fully set where they need to be. And this is a guy that grew up in a boxing gym. What they were trying to say, I guess, to put the spin on him versus AJ and guys like that, were like, well, AJ took up boxing. Not this guy. He's been in the gym his whole life. Well, it doesn't show for what he's putting in the ring off of what he should know how to do. If you grew up in the gym, the first thing you're supposed to have is footwork.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point. It just seems to me, I hate to say it, but it just seems to me like this new school of Americans who grew up watching Mayweather, and they try to do what he does, but they just don't have the natural talent. I'm talking speed, power, and all that, to make those type of mistakes and get away with them. So, hopefully, listen, we need, look, you need a bit of everybody in a division to make it interesting. And right now, with Wilder's the lone American, Andy Ruiz, technically you could consider a Mexican, it'd be fun to have an American in the mix. But we'll see what happens with him. I want to give a shout out, by the way, to Jay Nels for his contribution super chat. He says, off topic, whatever happened to Nikita Ababibi, aka the White Chocolate? I used to see his highlight reels on YouTube. Is he just a DAZN prospect? You know what? I used to see people posting stuff about him on Discord too, and that's a good question. Does anyone know what happened to that fella?
Not a clue. And when he said that, that went off in my head. It was about just about the time I started coming on the show. Him and was not Josh Taylor, but that Olympic medalist that lost not too long ago. They were coming along at the same time, thinking, yeah, these guys have got some talent, and one lost, and I haven't seen anything about White Chocolate at all. Period. And that's a very good question, because he looked like a very solid prospect.
Well, that's an interesting. Yeah. So unfortunately, Jay Nels, we don't have an answer. I'll try to Google it while we're doing the show here. And by the way, the phone lines are open, so if anybody wants to call in, let me know. Oh, we have a phone call here. Okay, before we get to that, shout out to Rider of the Storm. And he says Torres looks like ravishing Rick Rude. LOL. Yeah, I don't know what it was with the fucking stash and that afro there, 70s fro. But I gotta tell you, I can't knock it because I could never pull it off. And believe me, I tried. So
like a porn actor, from the 1980s.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like John Holmes.
It was like Magnum.
By the way, he's a third-generation Mexican. I think his grandfather immigrated to the United States in like the 1920s.
Interesting. And by the way, shout out to Furioso. Shout out to Furioso in the chat, who says they cut Torres short. He's a silver medalist. They should have got top billing. He should have got top billing. He stole the show. Hey, maybe they'll learn their lesson, Furioso, for the next time. Because I mean, it did become a bit of a viral knockout. What Torres did. So you're right. And by the way, shout out to Furioso for the back foot bitches thing. That's again, that's where I got that's where I just keep using the back foot bitching thing, and he's the progenitor of that term. So shout out to Furioso. Somebody was gonna say something about that? No? Okay. Let's go to the phone lines here. We got a phone call. We got a wild card line. The wild card, 111. Let's see if this works.
Hello?
111. You're on the air.
Hello? All right.
Yeah.
Hey, love the show, man. Shout out to Tulsa. I actually went to the Kumi fight. Saw it. Kumi got fucking robbed. That's the first thing I want to say. But before I continue, I want to say something about the Luis Ortiz and the Andy Ruiz thing.
Yes.
Honestly, I think this is Luis's final fight. Like, win or lose, this is his final fucking fight. There's no way that man has that longevity. I mean, hey, I understand it's heavyweights. People are going to mention, well, what about Foreman, this and that, but the dude in that Martin fight was losing. He was clearly fucking losing. Had it not been for the fact that he landed that lucky shot, he was losing that fucking battle. And a second thing I want to say about the Pitbull situation, I think that PBC is trying to get Gervonta a rival to earn more money. Because as it is, let's be fucking honest here, out of DAZN, Showtime, and Top Rank, it is the worst promotion. It has the shittiest fights. It's just a pure fact. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm only ever watching Showtime because there's nothing on DAZN, or there's nothing for the UFC, or really anything else going on. That's just my opinion. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
Anyone want to take that one? Well, I'll say this then. I mean, you're absolutely right. They're trying to scrap the bottom of the barrel here. And we're going to talk a little bit about because everyone's going AWOL. I mean, AWOL. Everyone's going bananas over Canelo saying he's not going to fight any Mexicans. You got plenty of guys on the PBC on that side of the street, and they're not matching them with each other. It takes them 3 years to make that fight or a fight. So you're right, man. That's why I'm boycotting the PBC. I'm boycotting the PBC. It's been 3 weeks because they just don't make the fights that people want to see.
Yeah, no. And their top rank in the zone are going to keep crushing the PBC if they don't pick their shit up and be like, all right, we got to give these people the fights they want to see. Because, again, like I said, I don't know anybody who's willingly watching the PBC except for maybe one of my friends who's a Davis fan, and that's about it.
He's a Davis fan?
I mean, I don't know what else to say about... Excuse me?
He's a Davis fan?
He's a Davis fan. He's a pretty casual, but he watches more UFC than anything else. So
is he? Is your friend Leather Ellerby's barber? Because I remember he said during a press conference, and he said his barber told him that Tank Davis is his favorite fighter. Is your friend a barber? Maybe we finally identified the fellow.
He ain't no barber. He's one of my friends in the Army Guard. He's in the infantry with me.
Oh, okay. Good for him, man. Yeah, maybe that's why he likes Tank Davis, because at least he scores knockouts. Big artillery there. Well, listen, 111. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
One more thing you mentioned about the younger generation just wanting to be like Floyd Mayweather. They just ignore everything, and they come off as like a shitty version of Mayweather. Just about every fighter's doing this, and you even see this in MMA as well. People are trying to do the shoulder roll, trying to go with the Philly shell, and it just doesn't turn out well for them. And I think that all of these young guys, I understand it's fine to look up to fighters like Floyd, fine to look up to people like Leonard, but if you don't understand what made them so good, just don't do what they do. You got to put your fighting style to your physical advantages.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And now that the Mayweather is becoming a distant memory, now more people are looking up to the current pound-for-pound fighters, who happen to be a little bit more well-schooled. So that's something to look forward to there, the next generation. All right, well, listen, 111, man. Thank you for your call, man. Great call. Go ahead.
One last thing I want to say has anyone noticed that like Torres looks like a Latino version of Apollo Creed from Rocky? Like, is nobody just going to talk about that?
Wait a minute. You know what?
I like the mustache. I'll be honest with you. I like that fucking chips. It's like the 1970s Village People mustache.
I mean, this looks, first of all, this photo that Bucho did where he puts Jared Anderson side to side with Torres looks like a fucking, it looks like a prison shower scene or something. I'm very disturbed by that picture, so there might be something to what you're saying there, caller.
All
right, well, listen.
They got to build 6'2".
Yeah, well, listen, 111. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man? All right, take it easy, man.
Take care, man.
You too, man.
Yeah.
All right, good call, man.
BDA, real quick. I don't think that Luis Ortiz is going away. He's just like Rigandao, no. With those, and he's like Lara, the American dream. No, what else is a Cuban gonna do in the United States? But fight, I mean, it's got to take some hot scalding water to get rid of this guy like fucking Rigandao.
Wait a minute. I mean, don't these guys? You said, what can a Cuban do in America? How about play dominoes on top of a Goya crate? That's what they do, don't they? Like they spend the whole afternoon just playing dominoes. Anyway, I don't know. Listen, I'm just saying.
Open a Cuban restaurant. They got good food.
Yeah. You know what? Open up a stand. You know, they got the leche and the leche batida, and they got the fucking Cuban sandwiches. They could do that, man. Colada. Like in Scarface. Why not?
Colada.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a lot of work.
Enough money if it's down
Pete,
and normal, but.
Pete, what was the line in Scarface where the guy, he tells Tony and the other guy, we got a lot of work to do? What was it?
Hurry back, because you got a lot of work to do. Come on, so. And he points his finger. He got that stupid. That guy looks like kind of like Gonzalo a little bit. Like
wait a minute, what?
Yeah, like, we got a lot of work to do. So.
Oh, man. Hey, by the way, shout out to Vladdy V for his contribution by the super chat. He says, a couple of shekels for BDA. More value per buck than that useless PBC card. Get a Renaissance show together soon, man. Absolutely. Listen, we got to get first of all, thank you for your contribution, Vladdy V. Always appreciate it. And we got to get Alan R., Jimmy, Bucho, and that dude that called in the last show, and he was talking about the Vatican and the Jesuits. We got to get that group together, putting together a team to talk about that type of shit. That's what we're going to get to next episode. But, what else was I going to say here?
The Rigandao situation was weird? No, he burned his eyes. It's like fucking crazy. What happened to him?
He burned his whole face. He burned his whole face. Remember, he wrote in. And he said he was okay during the email segment. He said he was okay, and he showed us his face. And all right, so he's fantastic. I might bring up the email if I have time later on. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, moving on a little bit here. They're talking about what should I talk about next year? Hold on a second. I already had this. All right, let me just put this up for the moment. Robert Garcia says he wants. People are still talking about Anthony Joshua. He wants Anthony Joshua to hold his next camp in California. Now, the rumor going to the Usyk rematch was that he hadn't actually been training with Joshua all that much face-to-face and that they were commiserating via Zoom calls. Guys, should Anthony Joshua keep training with Robert Garcia? Can there be more gained from this union long-term? Or what do you think?
Absolutely. I'll say something about this because I heard about it. And I looked into it, and as I thought, this thing about Robert Garcia said Anthony Joshua doesn't have any heart. I'm thinking to myself, he said that? He didn't fucking say that. That's not Robert Garcia. Why would he just start bad-mouthing? It's not him. I mean,
he's
it
never done it.
Doesn't add up, right? And then so you go to try to find it. Can anybody? I mean, maybe I'm just not didn't look hard enough, but can anybody find a clip of Robert Garcia saying that? I don't think you can. I just don't think he said it.
He said that it was taken out of context, right? Which was that when he talks about how Joshua lost his edge or something late in the fight.
Okay, so if he said what I said was taken out of context, can somebody play me what he said? Because it's just not out there, and it just doesn't strike me as Robert Garcia. So that's just number one. Number two, big picture. Yeah, Anthony Joshua is coachable, obviously, and Robert Garcia is a damn good trainer. I was apprehensive about AJ jumping out there with no trainer and taking so long to find a trainer. I mean, he was like going on like a tour of the United States. He's visiting gyms and have something lined up before you know what I'm saying, before you start changing everything drastically. But he finally settled up with Robert Garcia. I think we can all agree that he showed improvement from the first fight to the second fight. There's nothing wrong with that.
A little bit. Yeah.
The game plan was on point. The training camp was obviously, okay. So Robert Garcia, he had to kind of make an adjustment there. He was interested in getting with Anthony Joshua, so he did. He went to the UK. But whoever said he should come to California, yes, that's right. Get away, get out of your comfort zone, get out of the distractions, get out of the fucking, go away. Go to wherever Garcia's gym's at, Riverside.
I forget. He's got two gyms
now. And have camp.
Well, listen.
What did he say that after the 10th round he was mentally defeated? And also maybe I heard that there was a note or something that I read.
You heard Garcia say it? You heard Garcia say it, or you heard that he said it?
One thing that he did during the fight that maybe wasn't so good, he kept telling Joshua Pete that he was winning the fight. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, but
I thought I couldn't argue with him up until the fucking 10th. I couldn't argue with that until the 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah,
well, telling him that in the 10th, 11th, or 12th? No.
Pete, according to Joe in the chat, he says that Garcia did indeed go on Ellie Sagbach's. He was recording that in that channel, and he's denying that he said anything disparaging about Anthony Joshua, which would make sense. Why would he badmouth a big payday like Anthony Joshua? This guy takes his percentage from Joshua, and you know how much Joshua makes. So put two and two together. It makes no sense. I think it's just another YouTuber or a media organization trying to make something out of nothing. But by the way,
it's just gossipy bullshit.
That's right.
It doesn't match up with Robert Garcia's reputation. He's just not.
Hey, I wanted to read a comment here from Thane Vakarian. He says, "Please don't. We don't need AJ in the USA." You know what? That makes a good point. I'm not living in the United States. I'm not American. But do you really need more people that look up to fucking criminals? I mean, listen. Let me just refresh people's memory here about what we're talking about in regards to what's his name? Joshua. Hold on a second. Where's the... Okay, here we go.
Ukraine. But I think as Usyk as a champion, you have to ask him because he's probably new champ. Different energy, different spirit. Coming to win. I tried to learn boxing, stick and move. Isolating the sweet science of the sport, doctrinating my style. But we're going back to the raw, rugged streets. That's where I belong. I never followed no athletes growing up, no movie stars. I followed the hustlers, the Rayful Edmonds, the Jeff Ports, the Nicky Barnes, the Big Meaches, the Larry.
All right, so there you have it, Big Elena. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I mean, this is a guy that looks up to criminals. So do you really need more than that? We're going to talk about that more later on, by the way. We're just scratching the surface of this type of behavior from boxers. But yeah, I think Thane, I think you bring up a good point. We don't need any more hoodlums running around in the United States. Now, with that being said, people in the chat are saying Larry Hoover. Anyone else want to mention something about this? Robert Garcia, Anthony Joshua. Should he hold a camp in California to be closer to Robert Garcia?
Well, it depends on where the next fight is going to be. You know? And if he needs to, like, does he need to be isolated? Does he have a hard time focusing? It all depends on who he is as a person. I don't buy that Garcia would say something like, I doubt he would have said anything so disparaging that he'd be worried about Joshua coming out and hearing it. He could have maybe critiqued him, could have said, I would have liked to see him do this, he would have had more energy. But come out and say something negative? No. I mean, it was probably just some YouTube-generated,
Exactly.
A little drama.
I mean, listen, what could Robert Garcia do in 1 minute into the middle of a round when Joshua again, he just punched himself out and he just went overboard in the 9th round. Up until then, he was fighting a great fight. He was fighting a goddamn great fight. And once the round is started, what can Garcia do to pull him back? Shoot him with a fucking tranquilizer dart? You hit him with a cattle prod from the fucking corner of the ring?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, what do you do when your fighter does that? He broke game plan out there. He fucking went crazy. He didn't get the knockout, obviously. He didn't stop him. And so then now he comes back to the corner and sits down. You can't get into it right then and there, but how is that Robert Garcia's fault? Why would he say mental weakness? It's not weakness.
Right.
It's
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right, man. Listen, he needs to spend a little bit more time with old Robert. See if Robert Garcia's acumen rubs off on him. Let's go to a phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. 914, you're on the air. 914, what's on your mind?
Hello, guys. How's it going? It's Fernando from New York.
Oh, Fernando from New York. What's up, man?
Guys, I got a question.
Fernando, what's up, buddy?
There's a lot of logical people on this panel.
Uh-huh.
These pay-per-views, these back-to-back pay-per-views selling under 6 figures. You know, these pay-per-views are selling under 100,000. Is it possible that there's a what about, like, is it possible for a hotel to wholesale purchase pay-per-views?
That's a good question. Anyone know the answer to that? Can hotels wholesale pay-per-views?
Because the reason why
I couldn't hear that question. I'm sorry.
There's no way. Like, there's. I'm sorry.
All right, hold on. Okay, the question is: can hotels wholesale pay-per-views?
Well, they can buy them like anybody else, like sport, like a bar. They just pay like a ridiculous fee, because then you got to try to charge people coming in to make their money back. But they charge big money. Like if you own a bar, like a commercial, it's different than a residential when you buy one.
I'm familiar with bars and sports bars.
Caller, I know what you're going to say. Caller, I know what you're going to say. This is the plan, and this is what I would do because I'm smart this way. But if I'm a hotel, I mean, if I'm the PBC, I pay the hotel a whole bunch of money, and I said, listen, you're gonna put the fight. You're gonna rig the TV devices so that when at the time the pay-per-view starts, the TVs turn on and they can't change the channel. The volume goes all the way up to max, and the hotel, people there have to actually watch the fights. That's genius. That's genius.
No. So no, without actually controlling the TVs or anything like that. Let's just talk about accounting and financial. You know, these fighters are earning, both Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz. They're both going to earn over 7 figures, right? Mm-hmm. The actual pay-per-view buy will be like reported 50, 60, maybe 80,000. Let's say there's like 120,000 pay-per-view buys, right? More than what well, let's not even go there. Anyway, more than what Luis Ortiz and Charles Martin did, right? You guys have to look at the business of this. Like, they're using actual infrastructure to distribute this pay-per-view, and if it only sells whatever it sells, because you know it's a bust, right? Paper bust, right? That's what you said.
That's right.
Some type of scheme has to be going on behind the scenes where this makes sense, because Showtime's not putting the money up. Okay, cool. Showtime also financially doesn't make sense. So how does this financially make sense?
I'll explain. I can explain. I like the question, and I was thinking about the same thing, right? So basically, this pay-per-view model, right, is the cheapest way, is the most cost-effective way for Fox to enter into a contract with PBC. They're going to show there with a production truck. They're going to set up cameras. They don't actually sell Fox pay-per-view does not actually sell you the pay-per-view, BDA the pay-per-view, this guy the pay-per-view, take your 75. They distribute it through a whole chain of
they take a fee.
There's a whole chain,
30 to 40%.
Right? They just sell it. They just sell it in one shot to different distributors around the country. Comcast, Spectrum, you name them. I mean, they're all different around the region. It's a cartel, the nation. So they're just going to give you the rights to put it on your cable box as an option for this much money flat, and then whatever y'all want to however many buys you get. And so these pay-per-view numbers that come back in, I don't even know how accurate they are. Obviously PBC, Ortiz and Ruiz don't care, because that's why they want the upfront money. They want to get paid at that night of the fight because they've already sold it to the distributors for a flat rate. These numbers are basically inaccurate at best.
Check this out, though. The units of pay-per-views being sold is very low, but the fighters aren't complaining about the pay-per-views being so low. So I think there's some type of game going on here behind the scenes that we're not privy to, and I think they kind of want you to pirate it, right? I don't care. I mean, I don't think they care if you buy it or not. Like, they have some type of wholesale business going on behind the scenes, like a business-to-business transaction, not business-to-consumer transaction.
Well, listen.
And this is the only logical explanation for these like a pay-per-view almost every other month.
That could be.
They're all underperforming.
That could be because, there's that old story that says that CNN, one of the reasons why they still have some sort of rating out there is because they pay hospital waiting rooms and airports to beam their broadcast with the TVs that are on there. So that's what they say they do, and that way they stay afloat with ratings. But I don't know how they would work it out. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Can I just make one more comment real quick before he hangs up on pay-per-views, then I'm going to get done talking about pay-per-views. But they don't care. It doesn't cost them anything to put it on. All they're doing, they're just paying for the fighters' purses. Because
there's a deduction. It may not cost anything up front, but there's a deduction.
The production cost is the only thing, because the streaming apparatus is already there through Fox. It doesn't cost Fox nothing. They're just there to make money. Yes.
I don't want to cut anybody off. Let's talk about mortgages, right? I know I'm veering off a little bit, but just bear with me here. In a market where it makes no sense, because it's like a stagnant market, it's just like, the bank will give you a mortgage if you want it, right? Are you going to go and apply for one, or if you could get one for free, which one would you do?
Of course, yeah. The guy has no options. He has so many fighters signed, and he only has so many slots to put them in, so he has to put them on pay-per-view. It comes down to this. I don't have the money or the platform, so I'm going to have you fans pay for this trash.
It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question.
Someone's got to pay for it.
But that's what I'm saying.
Someone's got to pay for it.
I mean, listen, it's an interesting question. We don't know. It's all speculation at this point. But look, they're losing money, and it wouldn't be surprises if if you don't see the PBC anymore in 2023. But listen, caller, we got other phone calls, man. Interesting question though. Makes me scratching my noodle over
because,
here.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry.
Wait. Real, just before
there's
you let
a lot
Fernando
of
off.
self-righteous YouTubers. And, they act like you can't comment on the fight because you didn't pay for the bullshit fight. Like, I'll pay for a good fight. I'm not going to pay for a bad fight. But don't tell me that, you can't talk about the fight because you didn't pay for the fight. Well,
that's right.
Well,
there you go. Good for you, man. Hey, good for you. That's right. I'll comment on whatever the fuck. I'll comment on their mothers. If they don't like it, they can fuck off. Caller, great point, man. Great point. Well, listen, we do have to move on to another phone call, man. But thanks for that interesting point. Call back next time, all right, man?
Okay, take care, guys. Thank you for being patient. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man.
Take
Thank
it
you.
easy, man.
Thank you.
And BDA, remember, a lot of those, their purses are all about incentivized. You know what I mean? They're not getting any money guaranteed, maybe $300,000 or something up front, and then the rest will be all you can make up to, $1.5 million if it sells X amount of pay-per-views, but they don't. And then they'll report it, they'll release it, like we said on our video, through some person that's not held accountable for it.
That's right.
It is what
That's
it
right.
is.
Well, listen, we're not bean counters over here. We'll leave that up to the accountants. But there's definitely some fishy stuff going on that right there. Speaking of bean counters, I actually am a bit of a bean counter here. Shout out to Carl Hunter Hansen for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Salute BDA, Jimmy Gonzalo." He forgot Pete, but I mean, listen, Pete, you can, sometimes he doesn't come in here. But shout out to everybody on the panel. He says, "Great content as usual. Cheers from down under Australia." Oh, yeah, Australia, mate. Thank you, Carl. Really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. You keep us afloat. That way we don't have to beam these into a hotel living rooms. Shout out to... Oh, well, actually, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 212. 212, you're on the air. 212, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? It's JDA, Joe.
What's up, man?
What's happening? Yeah, so I just wanted to call in to let you guys know about that Garcia thing. So he said it was like a misinterpretation through languages with some Mexican reporter.
Right.
That's what that happened. He went out and Ellie stepped back today and straightened that out. He was just like critiquing the fight. He wasn't criticizing, and he just said that he was just critiquing the fight. He was giving props to Usyk, and the guy just misinterpreted and obviously slanted it like his way.
That's what they do, these reporters. That's what they do. They're very sneaky that way. They take one quote from, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about an article." They already got the story written. They're just going to work that around your quotes, and it's either going to be a puff piece or it's going to be a what's the opposite?
Yeah,
of a
we
puff
all
piece?
know. Listen,
Right.
the media is so
so
dishonest. Don't even get me started with that shit.
I am getting you started. What do you think about that?
But I just wanted.
I got an attitude today. I'm sorry. I got an attitude today. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I'm not apologizing for what's his name wearing his sunglasses at night indoors.
But wait a minute, come on. They're saying he might have some sort of an eye ailment or something. Man, come on, you're not going to cut him some slack for that?
Toughen it up, dude. Toughen up.
All right, that's old school Joe calling in there. Joe, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Nah, I love you guys.
Thank you.
Jimmy, Gonzalo, Pete, all you guys do a great job. So
all right.
It's a pleasure listening to you guys. So I'll hang up now and not talk about mortgages and finance and all this crazy shit.
All right, Joe. Thanks for calling in. Take it easy, man. You too. He says,
I like
Mars
that
needs to
exit.
toughen up.
I'm going to leave you now because I know that you are busy.
Where was it from?
Don Corleone.
Yeah, fucking then Miss Don Corleone on this day. So what the fuck?
Mr. BDA, I'm going to leave you now because I know that you are busy. Thank you. All right, Joe. You're my most dearest friend. Goodbye.
All right, listen, the other thing I wanted to talk about here is this big report coming out. Apparently, as you know, Cepeda and Prograis are going to be fighting in a very intriguing fight of southpaws. Well, it turns out a dark horse came out of nowhere. Cepeda Prograis will now be promoted by Marv Nations Promotions, and they secured this fight with a $2,400,000 what do they call it, bid here, purse bid, and now people are the fuck is Marv
Purse
Nation?
bid?
Yeah. What is going on here? Oh shit! Connection issues. Can you hear me, guys?
They're a smaller outfit. There's a bunch of them. We don't hear about a lot of them. It's just someone trying to get their. It's the best way to get you. Oh, connection issues. Shit.
Go ahead.
better?
So you're chopping in and out, BDA.
All right,
Jimmy,
fuck
you're good.
this.
You're good, Jimmy. Jimmy, you're good. You're good. You're good. Stay.
Yeah, no, it's one of the smaller outfits. Just in Mr. BD, what it is, if you're trying to, it's the best way, honestly, to get your name out there. Like right now, people are gonna hear their name, and it's gonna be a fight that people want to see. Right? It'll be viewed. They probably paid more than they would like to, but other than that, what's the alternative? If you want to get in the business and like just get your name out there, you have to start doing shows, and it's kind of a way to buy yourself some credibility. And if they put on a good show, and it's also conducive to the undercard. If they put on some good fights, who knows? Something's got to happen. Something's got to break up this old boys club.
Interesting. Now, do you expect, because apparently Marv Nation has been putting on shows before, so it's not exactly Triller, are they?
Oh yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, I've heard of them, Marv Nation. They've been around.
Okay. So you don't expect any type of Triller hijinks like what happened with Teofimo Lopez and Cambosos?
Well,
no, I don't. I think Triller, that just happened because...
What were the bids? What were the second... What came in second?
Good question.
They're blind. Unless they release them, nobody knows.
No, they did. They did, apparently, Jimmy. Apparently, Probellum...
Yeah, they release them after the fact. It's a sealed bid, but then after the fact, they have to disclose them.
Pete, here it is. It's apparently TGB Promotions was the next higher bidder with $1,260,000. Zanfer Boxing bid $1 million, and for 4,000.
That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. All right, so it's a massive overbid. I mean, it's a huge overbid. You can see the second bid was 50% of
$1 million less,
and then the third place bid was only 10% behind the second place bid. So the second and the third place guys that you named there are their numbers are pretty sharp, and somebody came in way the fuck over the top. It's we can call it aggressive if you want, an aggressive number. But they didn't know that until after the fact, right? Until you unseal them, you don't really realize how much you overpaid, right?
That's right.
So now they got a 10%. They got a 10% bond with the 10% deposit with the sanctioning body, whoever it was, and hopefully they can fucking get it done in a timely way. And if not, hopefully everybody moves on, because the problem with Triller is they came in the same way. Shitty number, way too aggressive. Probably didn't know it until after the fact, because once you unseal the bids and you realize that the two biggest names in the game are half of what you bid, you're going, oh fuck, I wish I hadn't, but now you got to pay. That's the rules of an auction. So delays and offsets, and we're gonna have Metallica there, and we're gonna have the fucking everybody else there, and
Madonna.
It just dragged on for too long.
Let me ask you this. This Marv Nation...
everybody's going to be there. I was like, God damn.
All the stars are coming out. Now, hey, listen, this Marv Nation reminds me of Marv Albert. It was Marv Albert the one that took a bite out of a prostitute, or...
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the guy?
Yes,
right,
baby.
I bit the bitch.
Ah, come on, man. All right, listen, we got a phone call here. Let's go to the phone lines here. We've got 773. You're on the air. 773. What's on your mind?
So how many people have mentioned Andrew Ruiz versus Usyk on this stream so far?
Oh, it's Kevin from Chi-Town. K-Dog. That's been a while, man. All right. How many people have mentioned Ruiz versus Usyk? I think we mentioned it maybe fucking 2 years ago. That's the last time I remember.
Okay. Just making sure, because I don't want to see I'll get a win over Ortiz and he's right in the mix. No way. Don't do it. They're trying to do that with Wilder, too. Oh, let's see Wilder versus Usyk. These dudes got to earn their keep. They got to work their way back up and earn their shot.
That's right.
Just throw them in there, he had their shots, and then come back out and get an immediate rematch, blah, blah. I don't like this shit. Wish they had to work their way back up. And give these other guys a title shot. Like Hrgovic.
Didn't look all that great, though, did he?
He got a shot.
Hey, but didn't look all that great against the Oriental.
He didn't, but he still won, so it does an eliminator, so you got to give it to him.
Fair point. Fair point from the K-Dog. Hey, by the way, K-Dog, I mean, good to hear that you're not incarcerated, because you had that little brouhaha with the parking tickets. How'd that work out?
Oh, we got that taken care of.
Oh.
Got that taken care of, no problem.
We got that taken care of. He makes it sound like he's got a whole legal team behind him. Well, that's good to know, man. That you had the dream team defending you and it got you out. Anything else, Kevin, you want to say?
They booted your car, Kevin?
No, they didn't boot my car. Just suspended license. I had to go and pay some
Oh, they can
fines
suspend
and
your
shit.
license for parking
Got it
tickets?
No, for missed court date.
Oh, okay.
Missed court date. Suspended license. Went, reinstated it. Had to pay like a $400 fine. And it's all good to go. Everything's in the past.
Attaboy.
We're looking forward now, guys. That's
There
in
you
the
go.
past.
There you
Okay?
go. That's good.
But as far as Usyk and Fury, I don't think there's any more. I don't think they're going to fight these guys. I think that's the last fight, Fury versus Usyk, and they're both out. What do you think?
I think both guys won out. I think Fury's not all that in love with the game, and Usyk's already done more or less what he wants to do. I think he's the last step for him is just Fury, and that's it, man. So I think both guys won. Jimmy said that he's hearing good things about it, and normally Jimmy doesn't pull the trigger on that type of stuff. I mean, he won't tell you, oh yeah, the fight's gonna happen when it's just rumors.
No, when you got a guy like Usyk, you can't. You have to make it because he's not going to cause problems. He's not going to cause drama. He's not going to try to. Oh, we're doing it in this place, and I want this much. And no, he's not like that. He just wants to unify, get the 4 belts, and end it.
From what I hear too, the destination's going to be Saudi Arabia. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Well, there you go. That makes it easier, right? They're gonna put up all the money. That's easy breezy.
Yep, got that Arab money.
Why wouldn't they want to do another one after that last one? That's a great fight.
There you go. Well, hold on. All right, Kevin, thank you for your call, man. We'll catch you on the next one, all right, man? You should call more often, man. All right,
boys, y'all be good.
All right, take it easy, man.
See you, Kevin.
Hey, he didn't fart.
The Saudis want to see another breakdown, no? They want to pay for something that usually money can't buy. Give us another fucking breakdown, like mental. Right?
Well, listen, like somebody said earlier, somebody said on the open lines, I think, or on the phone lines, the Saudi Arabians are intent on getting a whole bunch of big sporting events and really try to get some traction there for their Arabian adventures. So it would make sense.
My only question about that, Mr. BDA, is alcohol is usually a very big part of a lot of events, right? Boxing events, they serve booze at the show. How does that happen in Saudi Arabia? Alcohol's against the law.
I think the way they're going to do it in Qatar, for example, for the World Cup this winter, is they're going to hold there's special zones where you can drink. So maybe
so
they'll
break their morality in certain areas. Okay,
that's right.
That's their fucking issue, man. Like they're just paying a site fee. You could have a kilo of coke in your seat with you, or you could have be a teetotaler. It don't matter.
That's right.
Yeah, even if you were stationed in the service back when they used to have, U.S. soldiers, even on the base, you know what I mean? They would get in trouble. They wouldn't allow it, supposedly even sold at the PX. So I was curious. So they are doing exemption for that. Kind of hypocritical, but whatever. Let them do what they want to do.
They've always had their red lamp districts. Not a whole lot, but I've always heard there's places where you can drink. Hell, I got my hands on a bottle of liquor over there.
There you go. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And Jimmy, don't get all high and mighty.
Hey, the thing about it is, like, it determines the.
I was going to go after Jimmy, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, you caught that, did you?
No, I was going to say, you're getting all high and mighty about their morals. Who's got morals anymore? That's what I want to know. And we're going to get to that, by the way. We're going to get to some of these fighters saying some very bizarre things. But anyway, sorry about that. You were going to say something, Pete?
You realize I was being sarcastic, though, right?
Oh, okay. I thought you were being serious. Say, wait. Since when is Jimmy telling these people?
No, not at all.
All right. My apologies.
I don't give a shit.
All right, my apologies. All right, let's move on then to this little subject. So so Marv Nation, you guys are saying they're legit, and all these people talking. That's the other thing. I was seeing people getting going after each other. Oh shit! Can you guys hear me? By the way. Hello?
Yes,
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Because people were going after each other on Twitter. There were 2 accounts that I saw. People were with hashtag Matchroom Tears. Apparently, they lost another purse beat. I think Buatsi versus Pascal. And I'm thinking, do people really do that where they go like my promotional in other words, do people root for promotional companies over others? And did they really like it when one fails?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
On Twitter? Oh yeah. I mean, well, dude, think about this. When there was rumors that the zone was falling out, was like failing. I mean, look at how many videos the LDBC made. I mean, they couldn't even wait till they got home. They were making them while they were driving. Yes, did you hear the news? Like pumping their fist. They had one live with BFFT guy there, and he had all the LDBC guys calling in. He's celebrating it. Yeah, they despise the zone. It just, it is what it is.
Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, if there's anyone that deserves any criticism right now, it's the PBC. And I really would hope that they would step up their game, because I'm not hating them because I'm happy about it. I'm criticizing them because they're not putting the fights that we want, and they've got a whole bunch of fighters that they could be making fights, but they're not. But to well,
PDA, you know what I find so funny about the PBC? They protect, even when they had Bill Haney on with his son, that on the show when he said I'll never lose to a white fighter. That same show when they asked, "What do you think about the PBC?" Bill Haney. Man, he even propped them up and put them up like, "Oh, I'm not going to say nothing about them. They're doing their thing, dude." It's like, here we go. Dude, you're at the zone.
Stay
like,
black,
why do you
baby.
care? And they wouldn't. So, yeah, exactly.
There you go. Hey,
But
they're
he
black.
getting
You gotta be black before you're anything else. That's what that CC woman said the other day. But go ahead, Gonzalo. What were you saying?
Well, but then when he left, go ahead.
But he getting paid.
Yeah, but he getting that paper, boy.
But when he left,
I don't understand the. I don't
contract
understand
was up. Where did he go?
Well, sorry. Go ahead. Chief.
It's okay. My point was the fact that they're not going to talk bad about the PBC, and I don't care why. It doesn't matter. They may have respect. They may have a business friendship. I don't care. It's their business. But the point is, when they left, they didn't go there. They went to Top Rank.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting point right there. I'd like to hear why. Yeah, why Top Rank? Why not the PBC? They treat you well over there. Apparently, you get paid over there
because the PBC doesn't have the.
Oh, you're cutting off.
I'm sorry, I've been
bit.
talking over you twice. I'll be quiet.
Oh, I think we're having connection issues here. But,
all right, we cool.
Yeah, a little bit.
We cool. We cool.
I think it's on your end.
Yeah, maybe.
So what the fuck you saying, homie?
No, maybe it is, man. Maybe it is.
What's
all
up?
right.
What's up? What up with it?
What's up? What you want? What you want to do?
Hey, listen. By the way, the whole Matchroom Tiers thing, ultimately they won the last bid. I mean, they won the Teofimo bid with the. They were the highest legitimate offer. So again, you get too caught up in the actual unsealing of these numbers. Let's just see if they can actually close, so to speak.
Yeah, maybe, man. I mean, we'll see what happens. Fuck. I mean, but that's another part there. That's the business side of boxing. Now, going back, actually, to something a little bit more entertaining here. I don't know if you guys remember, but Caleb Plant and Anthony Durrell will be fighting on the undercard of Wilder Helenius. Now, it's on paper, it's supposed to be a legitimate matchup because Durrell, believe it or not, is ranked number 3 by Ring Magazine in the super middleweight division, which shows you how thin it is at the moment. But they will be fighting nonetheless. Both guys went after each other in the press conference. And Durrell said something interesting, which we talked about prior to the Caleb Plant-Canelo fight. He said, we're boxers. What's Durrell said? And inside the ring, it's business. Everybody understands that. Outside of the ring, nothing personal. Don't act like an asshole. I think he acts like an asshole to everybody. Canelo slapped him and Benavidez doesn't like him. Name somebody that likes him. If he chooses to act like that, he chooses to act like that. And then Caleb Plant, apparently, I don't have it here with me, but apparently he went on Twitter and he said, nobody in my division likes me. And he put a sad face. Being sarcastic. I don't give a fuck if nobody likes me. What do you think about that, about Caleb Plant? The fact that he got slapped by Canelo and then knocked out in the ring, and he still has that confidence. Does he have no other choice? I mean, what is he supposed to say? Yeah, I got bitch slapped by Canelo and then knocked out? What's going on here?
Well, first, we don't know if he has that confidence. I mean, he's portraying it, and whether he really has it or not, none of us can read his mind. We're not trained or psychologists. But every fighter should at least portray they have that confidence, even if they don't have it, because you're going in there to risk your life for a living. And so you need to have some kind of self-belief. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in there. So he's still fighting even though he cashed in. He made a lot of money against Canelo. He's still fighting. So obviously he either hasn't rolled up his bankroll yet, with no disrespect to him, if that's his goal, or he still believes that he can possibly win another belt if one of the belts becomes vacant from Canelo. So he's in here. Plus, he may be obligated to keep fighting unless he retires, which he hasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
So those are three factors that could be happening. As far as the fact that he and Durrell's number 3, it kind of validates some of the people's feelings about Canelo stopping at the super middleweight instead of going back down to 160. He may not have been able to make 160, but the other thought pattern is he stopped there because the division's light and weak. And this is a perfect example of the fact it's light and weak. If Anthony Durrell, either Durrell, is still ranked in the top 3.
Well,
I mean, the guy just had a daughter. BDA guys, he just had a daughter, so that might be good, like great motivation. And he's got confidence in his boxing skills. I mean, if a dude gets on the back foot and decides to box, he can make it ugly for anybody, especially an old dog that you can't teach new tricks. Fucking Durrell's like 42, like 40 as well.
Yeah, he's early 40s or late 30s, right? Something like that. I mean, and look, Andre Durrell was the one that was the most talented. I'm talking physical talent. He was quick and he had power, but he just mentally he wasn't there. Anthony Durrell seems to be more grounded, but unfortunately not as talented physically as his brother. We'll see what happens. I mean, what do you guys think? Is Caleb Plant just going to box circles around him? See, the silence lets you know.
If Durrell doesn't have anything left, it should be yes. I mean, Durrell, we just said, he's on the wrong side of 30, too close to 40. Plant is closer to his peak in his prime, and he's only had one draining fight against Canelo. He was doing well. Well, when I say doing well, I don't mean it's necessarily winning, but he was defending himself in boxing before he got knocked out, and there's no reason to believe that Durrell's going to be able to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So basically, if we're thinking, are we saying can Plant win? He should win, not can he win. He should win. And if he doesn't, he needs to reconsider his career because Durrell's definitely on the decline.
Well, there you go. I mean, there's not much to say about
this. It's a tune-up fight, right? It's a tune-up fight for Caleb Plant, right? It's a comeback. It's a tune-up after a loss.
Right. Which he should have had sooner, by the way.
Yeah, that division's kind of weak anyhow, and the belts are all locked up. I hope Canelo. I mean, we don't know. I'm gonna have to hold back because what if GGG wins? Anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. That's why they're fighting. And again, I told people,
that fight's at 68 or 60. That fight's at 68 or 60.
Which one?
GGG Canelo.
68.
That's a super middleweight affair.
That's right.
Right. Exactly this division we're talking about, yeah.
But that's the thing, though, with the PBC. Why did it take so long for Caleb Plant to get another fight? You would think, hey, he just had a big fight against the number 1 guy in the number 1 draw in boxing. Why not get him a fight right away? Why squander that momentum and have him fight all the way to October, almost a year off?
Well, we're talking. You guys talked about the whole first part of the show. It's just
all right. Thanks, thanks, Pete. Yeah.
Who's going to pay for it? No one wants it.
That's what
I mean, there's not enough fucking money. Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah. Well, listen.
I mean, if you're going to go forward, and say he made this much money in his last fight, and then say he should be looking at this, no one's buying that bullshit.
Let's move on to something a little more spicy then. Canelo is really riling people up because he said for the third time, he said it a whole bunch of time ago, a couple of months ago, and he said it again now. He said, they asked him, if Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez beats Bivol, would you fight him? And he said, no, I'm not going to fight any Mexicans. And now people are going bananas again over that because he repeated it. And, plenty of people are calling him out on it. They're saying, oh, if a black fighter said that about, that he wouldn't fight any black fighters. And my response is, they don't need to say it because they're already doing it. They're not fighting each other. I mean, the Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, they haven't fought each other. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, the big fighter wants to see, and look how long it's taking to make. Who knows if we're going to even get it this year. So, listen, Canelo says one thing and then does the other thing after he riles everybody up and gets some publicity. Remember the whole Makabu thing? I'm going to be fighting Makabu. If it was Eddie Reynoso who started, and then Canelo went along with it. It's like, yeah, man, whoever he tells me to fight, I'll fight. And everyone's like, whoa, what the fuck? He's going to fight Makabu. How did that work out? He ended up fighting fucking Bivol. or what was it? Yeah, Bivol and then now Triple G. So take what Canelo says with a grain of salt. These people, they're a bunch of hysteric reactionaries. They just love to react to everything he says. What do you fellas make of this?
After giving it some thought as you're speaking, you know what I'm thinking, BDA? He might be a little bit of a hater in the sense that he don't want to make another Mexican gain clout or earn money.
Interesting. Very
for some
interesting.
reason. Canelo's kind of an asshole.
That makes a little bit of sense there, Gonzalo. It's true. I mean, it could be. But then again, when people go, oh, he doesn't want to fight any Mexicans. But is there any other big Mexican in that weight division? Don't give me Benavidez. Look, who's Benavidez fighting right now? Is he waiting for that Canelo payday without doing anything for it? I mean, come on. And then you got Zurdo Ramirez, who Lord knows, I don't think he's going to get past Bivol. Even though Canelo, he was diplomatic though, Gonzalo. And he did say, I think Zurdo has a very good chance of beating Bivol. So I think he was being generous there. Although I'll make a breakdown and explain why he might have a shot, provided he does certain things. But I mean, look, when people are blowing this out of proportion, and they have to make it racial. They have to come out and say, well, if a black guy would say this, well, you don't know. It's all speculation. If Wilder said it, well, has Wilder said it? No. Okay, so what the fuck? Can you see the future? Jimmy, what do you think about all this little drama?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably getting eyes on it. I mean, he doesn't want to talk about the Triple G fight or like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, he's bitter. He's pretty angry right now coming off the loss and then about having to fight Triple G again, so.
But do you think, what's your thoughts on people talking about it and being angry over it?
Over the fight happening?
Over his comments of Canelo saying that he's not looking forward to fighting any Mexicans anytime soon.
I don't even really understand that. Like, what's that? Like, me neither. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even grasp. Like, what's that even about? What does that even mean? I mean, is there any Mexicans around? Well, I guess Zerudo, but it's 168, right? Or no, he's at light heavyweight.
But Jimmy,
so
that's
like,
what
really,
I said. But Jimmy, that's what I said earlier. I said. He said, because they asked him, if Zurdo wins, would you fight him? And he said, well, he has a very good chance, but I'm not looking forward to it. But I think Canelo knows, having been in there with Bivol, that's not going to happen. Probably not. And second of all, Benavidez is the other half Mexican in there. I think he's half Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
And he hasn't fought yet in 20... Well, has he fought in 2022?
No, yes, he did. He fought Lemieux.
Okay, Lemieux. Okay, so he hasn't had anything penned down till the end of the year. So... he's the other Mexican. I suppose this is why people are getting angry over that. Like you said, who's there to fight?
But that's what Jimmy's saying. Like, what does it even matter? I mean, look, Canelo's not a very good bullshitter. Like he's not a very good smooth talker when it comes to like, you know, lying or the way he phrases things is somewhere between spoiled, rotten, and combined with like kind of like stupidity. Like he doesn't think too far ahead when he starts bullshitting. So the thing about it is like, but on this one here, I don't even understand the context of the. He just made this statement. What is he going to send you a fucking 23andMe? You got to spit into a fucking tube to find out if he's going to check your fucking genealogy, dude. He'll fight the corpse of. He'll fight Hector Camacho from his corpse for fucking. If I pay him $30 million, so you know what I'm saying? Like, although he's Puerto Rican, that doesn't really count. But he'll do whatever it comes down to it, depending on the deal. You know. So I don't even know why I don't know why people ask him that. I don't know how it comes up. I don't even know why he answers it if he does answer it. It's just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that was to my point to Jimmy, because I had just said what he was going to say beforehand, and I was just proving his point, which is what does that even mean? No, I'm not going to fight. And the fact that people are making a big deal out of this and then trying to make it racial. Well, if a black guy said this, I mean, come on, they're not fighting each other. So that's even worse. That, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but hey, action speaks louder than words. Speaking of action, we got a phone call here. Hold on a second. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 650, you're on the air. 650, what's on your mind?
I think a certain group is just blowing this out of proportion, and we know who that group is. And it doesn't make any sense because, I mean, we've seen Canelo face Angulo. We've seen him face Julio Cesar Chavez's son. We've seen him face plenty of Mexicans. It doesn't mean anything. That statement is just Canelo talking. If anything, Canelo is getting really good at English, and I've seen like he's down to like practice it with interviewers, and he's just answering anything. Like if he doesn't want to find any Mexicans, that's fine. He's proven himself. Like Mexicans are national. They're prideful. Like, why? Of course he wouldn't want to fight another Mexican. It's nothing to blow out of proportion. Like,
That's a good point
a
that
certain group trying to stir the pot.
That's a good point that you made about him learning the language, because now he can report the crimes that he's seeing and he's got him shook. That's a good point there, caller. That's a very good point. Very astute. But that's the other thing, though. But that's the thing, though. Like, which other, like, it's historically Mexicans, they don't tend to do well. There's not that many tall, big Mexicans. I mean, now you're starting to see some of them different. Like you said, Benavides, which is, part Mexican, and Andy Luis, a heavyweight, and Torres. But historically, Mexicans have always predominantly done well, welterweight and below.
Yep, and it's not a big deal that's why it's not a big deal for him to make that statement. I mean, besides Zurdo, I mean, who else? What other Mexican? I mean, and of course, Canelo would fight Zurdo. I think he would if the money's right, and that's what the fans want to see. Canelo will fight him. He might not want to do it, but
exactly,
Canelo's not going to turn down a fight, dude.
That's what I was saying. Like, when people take his word to be gospel, oh, he said this. I remember last year when people were making a big deal about him fighting Makabu, and I was thinking that's not going to happen for a myriad of reasons. And now, again, he's saying something, and then in 6 months, he's probably going to fight a Mexican or a Mexican adjacent, and this is all going to be forgotten. But right now, they got to make a big deal out of it. They got to get their heart on and get that energy out of there somehow, some way. So you're absolutely right, caller, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I'm really enjoying the show, BDA, lately, man. I'm a proud member, and you're doing good things.
Thank you, man. Who is this, by the way?
I'm your leader.
I am your leader, of course. Yeah, fuck, I always forget. I recognize the voice, but then I forget who it is. I'm your leader. Thank you for your call, man, and call back next time.
No worries. Peace out, BDA.
Take it easy, man. Glad you're enjoying the show, by the way. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like. 410, you're on the air. 410, what's on your mind?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up? What's on your noodle, sir?
Yeah, I'm getting tired of this race crying by all these black content creators and black boxing fans in general, man. You just need to stop crying. Anytime one of them gets whipped or something don't go exactly their way, they just cry and race. I watched the Plant press conference with Darrell, and there's Darrell talking about, I'll never lose to a white boy.
Whoa,
they talk about that? What would happen. Huh?
He said that?
Yeah, he said that.
Whoa.
But so did Devin Haney. Devin Haney said that. Devin Haney said, regarding Lomachenko, I'll never lose to a white boy. If I fight a white boy 10 times, I'll beat a white boy 10 times. Black folks are having a hard time realizing that boxing is a global sport. And in the last 25 years, especially since the wall came down, Eastern European fighters and fighters from all around the world are becoming more prevalent in boxing. And they will whip your ass. Also, the Latino fighters. There's always been Latinos, but now there's a lot more. And they will whip your ass. Now, they'll lose some, too. Black fighters are great fighters, and nobody ever denying that. My favorite fighters have historically been black fighters, and historically, they've made up for the better part of the greatest fighters in the game. But guess what? Boxing's always been a global sport, and right now, especially with the American market being so down, you're seeing a lot more fighters from around the world. Those Eastern European guys are hardened men. They come from ghettos, and they will whip your ass if you don't come correct. But they just cannot handle it. They just can't stand it. And every single thing that happens, they want to claim that race is involved.
Well, caller,
it's just getting old.
Caller, I don't know if you saw the last.
Didn't Uskategi beat Darrell already?
He beat Andre Durrell.
What's that?
He beat Andre Durrell. That's no, sorry.
My bad.
But I want to say something about that caller. The last episode we played a clip where it was a woman. It was a video that BK Boxing edited. BK Boxing, and he was watching an LDBC stream the day after that Fury beat Wilder, and there was this black woman named CC Boxing or something, and she was saying, "I'm heartbroken." I'm quoting here. "I'm heartbroken. I don't like this. I don't like these white motherfuckers thinking they got the upper hand on us." So by that logic, that means that when they see their black fighters winning against another race, they see it as themselves having the upper hand on another race. It's racial for them. Clear as
they
day.
think they own boxing because they dominated boxing for the most degree, and I'm not one to deny that. I've been a boxing fan since Ali was the champion. In the postmodern era, black fighters, American black fighters, been some of most of the greatest fighters. But there was always great fighters from all around the world, all during that time. And so they got a false belief that they own boxing. But now, if you look right now, both heavyweight champions are white. There's 4 cruiserweight champions. 3 of them are white. Light heavyweight, two champions. 2 of them are white. At super middleweight is a Latino has all the titles. Canelo. At 160, there's Jenna Beck, and there's 3 middleweight champions. Jenna Beck, Golovkin, and Charlo. And Golovkin's the only unified champ. 140 has a white champion. Since we're going to make it about race. Now, to me, typically, I wouldn't bother with that. But if you want to insist about making it about race, then take a good look at the world rankings and see who's really running boxing right now. Because it's whites and Latinos. You see? And I don't really want to put it like that, man, but I'm sick of the capping and the bullshit. But lastly, also, I want to say this. I'm a Canelo Alvarez fan, but I don't agree with that. I don't want to fight Mexicans bullshit. To me, that sounds like a cop-out. And I've been accused of being a Canelo fanboy, dick rider, whatever. But that, I don't go along with that, man. You can't just say you don't want to fight Mexican fighters. I'm going to tell you what it is why he doesn't want to fight Mexican fighters. Because when he fought Golovkin the first time, he boxed Golovkin, and he lost a lot of Mexican fans because of that. Because they you know what style most Mexican fans expect from their fighters. And Canelo does not fight that way. And so if he made a fight with, say, Benavidez, after the hype train got done and when it came down to the fight, Canelo gets in there and boxes, he's going to lose a lot of fans, and he knows that. And I think that is the key motivator.
That's a good point, caller. That's a good point. I mean, but I want to wait and see what Canelo does, because what he says one thing one day and then he does another thing the other day. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but he said this before. He said it before, and you got to take a man at his word when he, if he's going to say that, and then and a couple years ago he said the same thing, and he's not fighting any Mexican fighters. It just sounds like he doesn't want to fight Benavidez. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're right that it doesn't sound good, but like I said, let's wait, see what happens, because again, Zurdo Ramirez is probably going to lose to Bivol. That only leaves Benavidez, and he hasn't done anything so far other than beat up on mediocre opposition to earn a shot at Canelo. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens 6 months from now, depending on how the Canelo Triple G fight goes. But I agree that him talking out of his ass like that and saying no more Mexican fighters, it doesn't sound good. But listen, caller, thank you for your call,
man. Because that Benavidez fight, that's a natural. He's right there at 168. He's a badass. And listen, I mean, I've been one to defend Canelo Alvarez, and I think he has the best resume in boxing, but I don't like, and I know fighters get managed, and they get, there's you got a fighter, a money earner especially, going to manage them, but still, I can't imagine Julio Chavez saying he's not going to fight any Mexicans.
Yeah, that's true.
That doesn't help. Mexicans, those guys need the paydays that he provides just as much as any other fighter.
I agree, man. But we'll see what happens. Let's see if Benavidez actually earns himself a shot, because I want to see that fight too. But if Canelo says he hasn't done anything, what's that?
Well, I don't understand that line of thinking. What do you say? Benavidez earned the right to fight Canelo?
I'm talking from the point of view of Canelo. If he's going to say, well, why am I obligated to fight Benavidez when he hasn't beaten anybody? That's what everybody says nowadays in boxing. You got to get yourself a title. You got to beat somebody.
And Mr.
Yeah,
BDA,
but
I truly believe.
was not a top opponent, and really, who did Plant beat? We have one half decent guy who's techie or whatever. You know, that's not a valid excuse.
I
really.
agree. Hey, listen. I agree, and I agree, and I do want to see Benavidez fight. But Caleb Plant beating Uzcategui is more than what Benavidez has done. In other words, what I'm saying is, until Benavidez actually fights somebody, Canelo's always going to have that excuse of, well, he hasn't fought.
Canelo's somebody. But he's fighting.
Canelo.
Who the fuck was Ungaba. What the fuck was the cruiserweight's name? What was the cruiserweight's name?
The guy he didn't fight?
Makabu.
The guy he didn't fight.
Makabu. Who the fuck? You never fucking heard of Makabu before or since that fight?
But he didn't fight him, so who cares? But he didn't fight him. But he didn't fight him.
And he looks so bad. He looks so bad in that gym.
All right. Well, listen. We're getting into Canelo talk, which is not something I want to do right now. But caller, thank you for your call, man, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, y'all.
All right, thank you, man. Always appreciate your calls.
Mr. BDA,
you know what?
Ah, shit.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I was going to say real quick. You know, I can understand why we're in a way where Canelo's coming from. It's like these motherfuckers didn't put their dues in. It's like, so you just get to a point where, and I'm not sitting on Benavidez. I like him. I think, and one of the reasons I like him, he wanted to leave the PBC. He tried. He thought he was gone. The poor kid. He got sucked back in. But like these other guys who just stand there like that, you know, with their plate in their hand. Please, sir, can I have some more? No, get the fuck out of here. Earn it. Earn your legacy. Fight people. Get in fights. Get to the point where he can't avoid you. Nobody can. Get to the point where you're that guy where everybody's now saying, oh, you got to fight him to be considered the best. But when you're just sitting back and you're a tough kid, you got power, everybody knows that. You're going in, you're willing to pull the war out, but it takes more. Go in there and get a couple of names in your belt where you're forced, where Canelo's forced to deal with you. That's all I'm saying. I can understand, because his eyes, I'm life-changing money. I am the promotion. You know, David Benavidez is not a promotion. Doesn't matter who I'm signing up. This is a $50 million fight because I'm here, not because any of you motherfuckers. So at least put in a little bit of fucking work before I give you life-changing money. I can understand where he's coming from.
That's that Floyd Mayweather playbook, though, Jimmy. That's that Floyd Mayweather bullshit. That's exactly the same bullshit. Who did Floyd fight? Wait a minute. Who did Floyd fight like that? No, it isn't. Everybody Floyd fought were ex-world champions, future Hall of Famers on pay-per-view.
All right.
Let
Gonzalo go.
Fighting a Mexican.
Somebody before I fight you, on the money. You know, I don't need you. You need me. Look,
but that was none of the guys he fought on pay-per-view.
No one needs Floyd or fucking Canelo.
All right, fellas. Let's put this on hold because we've got phone calls, and Gonzalo wanted to say something. So, Gonzalo, go ahead, man. And we'll put this.
He is fighting the Mexican though. His name is Gennady Golovkin, no? Or Gerardo Gutierrez. Could be the same for Ike here. Motherfucker's like a Mexican to me.
Who are you talking about?
Gennady Golovkin.
Gennady
Golovkin is like a fucking Mexican to me, so he is fighting.
All right, well, there you go.
You guys feel? Do you guys feel a lot of people aren't giving Gennady any opportunity? Like, not even.
Hold on,
I can understand people not being. But a lot of people.
Hold on, but Jimmy, I gotta get to.
I don't believe that.
Jimmy, I was gonna get some phone calls here, so let's put that on hold.
Get to them phone calls, Mr. BDA.
Okay, thank you. Let's go. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 309. You're on the air. 309. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mr. BDA. This is Arkham Inmate. I'm calling on behalf of the board of directors of the BDA and its affiliates to tell you that we are not allowed to say blacks don't fight blacks because we have Anthony Durrell versus Caleb Plant on the undercard of the Deontay Wilder fight.
Hey, that's a good point, man. Hey, and that's a black guy fighting a white guy too, by the way.
No, he's not white. Remember one of the guys from the LDB said the only thing white about him is his skin.
Well, what else is there?
He said that.
Correct.
True Titan.
Well, and then Chibi said he had that black Air Force energy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
Yes, that's
Arkan, it's interesting that you're able to talk. It's interesting that you're able to talk to the board of directors because I can't even get through to them. It's always done by proxies. What else do they say?
Well, Rachel Shapiro says you're not answering the red phone, Mr. BDA, so you're not holding up to your obligations here.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't been keeping up with my contractual
You gotta push the
obligations.
merch.
All right. Oh, listen, hold on. Let me
Forget
write
to
it down
push the
here.
merch.
Kind of busy turning the world onto the Crimson Cross, though. He's a little busy.
That's right. That's right.
Gotta push the merch. We got brand new BDA cups that are purple and black. Don't forget.
That's right. That's right. So, Arkham, man, what do you want to talk about, man?
I just wanted to say that I actually think Golovkin-Canelo is a good fight still, because Canelo's work rate is not high enough to wear down the 40-year-old Golovkin, even though he's lost the stuff. I think we're going to go 12 rounds in this thing, and I think both guys are probably going to get hurt at the end of this thing.
I agree.
And
caller.
Golovkin has one more fight in Kazakhstan. I think it's going to be Chris Eubank if he wins, or maybe he gives Janibek the shot that Janibek wants, and that's a big name fight.
Oh, well, listen. Oh, if that fight ever happens, man, that's Kazakh Thunder right there, man. You're preaching to the choir too. I think Canelo Triple G3 is going to be a good fight for as long as it lasts. Like you said, Canelo fights at an old man's pace, which is essentially a Golovkin pace. So you're absolutely right, man. Arkham, anything else you want to say?
He only throws like one punch at a time, at best two. He's not going to wear Golovkin down, even like Murata did through the first 6 rounds, because Murata came out like his freaking hair was on fire. Like he was trying to take the man's soul. And it ended up probably costing him in the end, but he did come to win.
It's a good point. Yep. Came out like a kamikaze. All right, well, listen, Arkham, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to our good friend, Mr. BDA. Y'all have a good night, gentlemen.
Thank you, Arkham. Thank you. And thank you for relaying the message from the board of directors. Take it easy, man.
That's my job. I'm the archivist. All right.
All right, let's go to another phone. Go ahead, Gonzalo, yeah.
No, just go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Hold on, is this thing working? Yeah, 956. You're on the air. 956. What's on your mind?
I want to see, by the way, the last caller, 09, very smart guy. The exact breakdown he made, I was making the same breakdown on the open line. So that guy's a very smart guy. Respect to him. He knows his shit. But anyways, I always talk about Canelo. Look, the reason why Canelo don't want to fight other Mexicans, I'll tell you why. There's 2 big reasons why. The first reason, I think he's kind of insecure about him being liked by other people. He wants to be liked by other people a lot, right? He's always trying to chase other people's validations. That's something we can notice about Canelo, right? And which is a good thing, sort of, right? Sort of a good thing and sort of a bad thing. But the reason why is in Mexico, I think Canelo feels like the only reason why Mexicans root for Canelo is because I'm saying that ever since the Chavez Jr. fight, because I remember a lot of Mexicans were rooting for Chavez Jr., even though, the casuals were rooting for Chavez Jr., like the Mexican casuals. Like my school teacher said, she was rooting for Chavez or shit like that, right? That's why Canelo don't want to fight other Mexicans, because he knows that the Mexicans aren't going to blindly root for him now just because he's Mexican, because now they got other Mexicans. So it's going to split it up, and I don't think he likes that. I think he's kind of spoiled, and I think he likes being the favorite guy in Mexico. So you have someone like Zurdo or Munguia or damn near even Benavides for the Chicanos or Mexican Americans in America. That's going to split it up, and he's not going to be the guy Mexico just all attracts to. And the second reason is Canelo's the type of fighter that breaks you down. He breaks you down over the 12 rounds. It's very hard to break down another Mexican because they're tough. They're not going to get scared and run like the other European fighters and American fighters. No, they're going to fight back. No, them body shots ain't going to do shit to Zurdo Munguia. They're going to put up a fight. I think Canelo knows that's going to be a very riskful task. And that's going to put a lot on his body too. So those are the 2 reasons why Canelo don't want to fight other Mexicans. I laid it down. You
laid it down, indeed.
Oh, by the way,
yeah.
But by the way, if any of you motherfuckers in this group chat right now or on the call, if y'all watch Ruiz, Ortiz, something's fucking wrong with you, bro. That's all I got to say.
That's why? What did he say?
He agrees with me.
Oh, okay. There you go. I didn't get the last part, but yeah, okay. So that was an interesting take on the Canelo versus no Mexican thing. That's an interesting take. Thank you for calling in. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 317. 317. You're on the air. 317. What's on your mind?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, sir. What's on your mind?
All right, I need a. This whole Canelo not fighting Mexican thing is driving fans crazy. Well, it's mostly because of the Benavidez. The reason I think he said that is because of Zurdo and him trying to give support to Zurdo. Benavidez isn't Mexican. He was born in America. I don't know why people are assuming that goes out to Benavidez too. I don't think that's what he meant by that. That's
Interesting.
one point I wanted to make. And the whole Benavidez being a boogeyman thing, that I remember, I think his name is Mirage. He was on a panel, and he's always on Benavidez' nuts, talking about Benavidez is the boogeyman, Benavidez this. He hasn't fought no one. And then they want to bring the Andy Yildirim. Well, who the fuck was Andy Yildirim? They would have given to Benavidez if Benavidez was a champ. He would have been the mandatory anyways. Would people start bitching about that? No.
I mean, yeah, listen,
So
people...
I don't know why that is.
You're absolutely right. Listen, people love to whine, and there's one specific group that we're going to get to in a couple of minutes that just loves to whine and play the victim card and the race card, and it's getting tiresome. We have to correct them, as it were, because that's our job, really. What else, 317? What else did you want to say?
I was gonna go on this whole racism. Oh my God, the whole Mexicans don't want to fight Mexicans. It's mostly from the LDBC. You know what they try to do. I've never seen an American black fighter fight another American black fighter in the past 5 years. I'm trying to think off of memory. I can't. And then this whole thing about undisputed. Let's say Spence or Crawford wins. Whoever them wins, right? If they win, they get to call the shots. I don't want to hear nothing about, well, Spence won. He beat Crawford, but now he got to fight Boo Ennis. Or now he got to fight Virgil. No, he's undisputed. If he wants to fight a fucking bum, well, let it be. That's what the mandatories are supposed to be for. Canelo's undisputed. If he doesn't want to fight Benavidez, he's undisputed. He did that. He fought Callum Smith, World Boxing Super Series winner, Billy Joe, and King Plant, all undefeated. Why does everyone forget that just because he lost to Bivol? Which Bivol, in my opinion, was the number one guy at light heavy.
Just not good enough. Just not good enough for some people, 317. By the way, listen, we got to move on, but thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you. And by the way, the only guy
that... I was going to say the first person to advertise or to report on that I'm not going to fight other Mexicans and took it out of context, of course, is Boxing Ego. But that was in 2019, I believe March of 2019, when he first said that. And he said he didn't like making rivals out of other Mexicans.
Right.
If you actually break it down, is what he said. So, yeah, it's ego, of course. Dude that makes a living out of fucking cutting up Mexican fighters and white fighters. It is what it is.
And that's what I was going to bring up too. The other thing that Sargent just brought up in the chat. He says he points out that Porter is the only black guy that was fighting other black guys because he's the guy that they just used to pimp out, and he's the guy that they pimped out at the ender against Crawford. They finally shipped him off. Said, you've lost enough close fights. We'll ship you off. But other than that, all those other guys, they don't fight each other. So, I mean, it is what it is. All these complaining.
Well, that's the one thing, Mr. BD, it's the one thing Al can't fuck with is the mandatories. When you're mandated, like when there's a mandate, it's either give up your belt or give up your opportunity. So Porter was like, no, I'm not going to step aside, look like a punk. But the PBC, they wanted to fight it. That's why they said, okay, fine. We're not going to even, bid on a purse bid. We're not involved. They didn't put $1 into that. That's why you didn't see anything PBC hanging up anywhere in the arena. That looked like two fucking top rank fighters fighting. They never even mentioned the PBC because, again, they wanted nothing to do with it. So,
well, yeah, there you go, man. Let's take another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 817, you're on the air. 817, what's on your mind?
What's up, bros? It's Shazar.
Oh, Shazar, what's up, man?
What's up, man? I just want to call. Jimmy was just about to start talking about it right before the phone call started coming in, saying like people aren't giving Triple G a chance. I think people are right. I think everybody's focused on Triple G, saying that he's old, he's washed, he looked bad against Murata, yada. I don't think enough people are talking about how bad Canelo's been looking recently. He got his ass whooped by Bivol real bad, and I think his run at 168, he didn't look too hot either. I mean, Plants got pillow fist and was catching him with those body shots that were affecting him. I think Bivol's power is underrated. but he's not obviously not the hardest hitter at 175. And I thought Bivol was taking it to Canelo and had him hurt several times. I think Canelo is starting to decline. I was saying this in the chat the other day, but I think his chin is starting to crack. And I think Triple G, he fought him twice, and I think he knows how to beat him. There's a lot of arguments that Triple G beat him twice. I think he's old, but man, people count on Triple G, I think, are really, really mistaken.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. We're people here that are saying that Triple G is still a very tough. It would not surprise me if Triple G pulls it off, because like some other callers said as well, Canelo doesn't fight at a high pace.
He does. He's been getting his tank is getting worse and worse, and he just his box, and because his run at 168 was so poor. And again, I'm not taking it against him because what he did was incredible. He saw an opportunity, he took it, and he got it. Everybody would have done the same thing at 168. What he did was awesome, but he's just he loads up on his shots too much. His feet, I think his footwork is getting worse. His tank looks worse. It's just I haven't been that impressed. I think he's an incredible guy, but I think he got kind of used to. I don't want to call it bum bash because you guys are world champions, but just maybe not the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you fight opposition that's worse than you, it's going to dull you. You get worse at it. I mean, look at Tank, right? Tank started out hot, but he's been fighting a bunch of bums, and I think he's been looking bad.
Jamal Charlo.
I'm not saying they're the same fighter, but I'm sorry, Jimmy.
No, I'm saying same thing with Jamal Charlo. You fight nothing but soft competition. It dulls you.
You should fight
steel
at where
sharp
you're
and
at.
steel.
Yeah, and I don't think Canelo's been fighting at where he's at. He's so good, and I think because he's been fighting very shitty opposition, except for Bivol. I think it all blew up in his face with Bivol because I really think he started freaking smelling his own farts. He was like, oh yeah, I can do this, and he got his ass whooped.
That's right.
And I think he got civilized. I think he got civilized.
I think that's what it's.
Well, call it right, brother. I mean, it's and one of the things. That last fight with Triple G bothered Canelo. He wanted nothing to do with this third fight. Remember right away? There's no third fight. He wanted, and then I don't care when anybody wants him. Not wanting this fight now. He's I want to give the people what they want. But it's almost 4 years after the fact when he was rocked in I think 10th round when we went back to the corner and they said, "You all right? Are you all right?" That's the first and only time I ever heard them ask him that. He was rocked. And he's a redhead, what makes those people hard to kill to begin with. And on top of that, he's got that gallon neck. He's not an easy dude to hurt. And Triple G rung his belt worse than it's ever been rung. And that's always stays in your mind, a dude who fucking rings your bell. I'm done.
Yeah. And again, I think it's worth mentioning, nobody ever talks about this. I try to say it every time. Canelo's been a pro since he's 15 years old, man. That's a lot of freaking wear and tear. It's a lot. It's a long time to be a pro, man. What is he, 32 now? 31? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that he's going to lose again. I think the logical, nobody thought fucking Pacquiao was going to get knocked out by Marquez, but it happened.
It's going to be a it's going to be a very interesting fight, man. People that don't think Triple G.
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, people don't understand the stylistic matchup here, and that Triple G still has that big punch, that big chin. And he's got that jab, which is going to give a lot of problems to Canelo. But they don't. We're going to try to do a collaborative film study here to show people what we're talking about before the fight.
Oh, that's be awesome.
Oh, I hope you enjoy it when we do it, man. But Shazam, we got to move on, man. We got to move on. But thank you for your call, and stay tuned on the Discord, man, for another second renaissance.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right.
Yeah, y'all keep it up.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Y'all.
All
right.
Y'all too.
Stay blonde.
Stay blonde. All right, fellas, I gotta go to the Pichadul real quick, but then I wanna show something about the sorry state of the classlessness of certain boxers or certain fans rather. You know what I'm talking about. So let me go to the Pichadul right real quick, and you guys hold it. Pichadul, whatever. Yeah. Tell me what you thought. Well, go ahead. Yeah, and I'll be right back.
Canelo's been trying to psych himself up. I mean, in these two press conferences, when he sees Triple G roll up. He's sizing them up and down, looking angry, trying to find the motivation and the reasons why I'm mad at this guy, just to give me the willingness, the motivation to psych myself up, to give it my all, And I think it's a good rivalry that does make for a good Canelo does show spirit. GGG's got the toughness. He's already got it instilled in him, and he's already sized up Canelo. I mean, Canelo is a smaller guy, and I do think that Canelo's stamina ain't all that great. And if you go for broke against Triple G and you can't get him out of there, and you can only throw 350 to 400 punches per fight, where are you going to be left after you spended your gas tank, right? So you still got to go for the next round.
And this is the first time G's been fighting at 168. Is it going to be a hamper or help? Who knows? This might rejuvenate him physically for that one fight. Might have a lot more energy, because he's been, it gets harder to take that weight off as you get older. So it could benefit him. At the same token, it could also be horrible. His legs might end up feeling like cement on the night. You just don't know. This will be the first time he's fighting at 168, which is always tricky when you're doing it against your best competition. But it is what it is. It just goes to show you the type of fighter he is. Never deserved the fucking hacks he got. To Mr. BDA's point about the toxicity, while this talk was going on, I went over to Twitter, guys, right? It is unbelievable how nasty some of these motherfuckers get when what they say is proven wrong. Instead of like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like if I saw something like, oh, no shit, I got wrong information. How fast they make, how he worded it. You go to ad hominem attacks to pull a race card. Like this dude was going on saying how Lomachenko, once he won the WBC belt, ducked Haney, right? So that kid, him and I, the friend of the show, wrote it down, broke it all down by the dates. I can post the tweet. It's awesome. The dates, how it was a physical impossibility, actually, for Lomachenko to have fought Haney by the time he lost, before the time he picked up the belt till the time he lost it. Because he won the belt in late August 2019. Haney in September 14th becomes his mandatory, not a mandated fight. All right. The first week at the same time, he just entered his training camp to fight Alfred Santiago, whom he fought November 10th, 2019. Here's the thing. December 13th, because he knew at the shoulder, he hurt his shoulder in the fight, went under the knife. He tried to keep it from going under. He couldn't help it. It needed surgery. Had surgery on December 13th, 2019, was out for 6 months, the doctor said, at a minimum. He didn't end up coming back for 10 months. Okay, what happened after that? April 20th, a few months later, COVID hits. Not only shut down what was supposed to be a Lopez Lomachenko fight in the spring, but shut down boxing entirely for months. All right? So when he came back, then he came back and he fought inside the bubble against Lopez in October. Lost the belt. The point is, so when they hear, once he became his mandatory, ducked him, he just broke down. Not only is that stupid, like it's, Lomachenko always said, it was a physical impossibility. There was no chance they could have fought each other, even if they wanted. One guy was already either in a fight, in a training camp to fight somebody else, or just had surgery. So there was no time, place for them to actual fight. So it's just, because he posted that and basically told the dude, no, you're wrong, here's why. The dude instantly, you're closet racist because you don't like black dudes. It's just like, dude just went went down that road. You're a fanboy, you're sucking, because he also defended our Ring IQ. Not defended him, but just basically backed what Ring was saying, backed it up with some facts. Oh, because you're a fucking fanboy and you want to, it's like, unbelievable. Nothing, at no time did he mention that he just got his dick kicked in with facts, that everything he was saying. But because of that, like a 16-year-old girl who's tired and got her period, she's got to get her word in.
They got, what I've started to realize for a lot of these people on Twitter, internet, whatever, even when you show them the facts in their faces, they go straight to a lie. They have no qualms about lying straight up just to save face. It's really low class, and it's indicative of people with low self-esteem. And like you said, Bill Haney said, the WBC guy, Suleiman, told him, after we gave you the WBC franchise, whatever the fuck, no, not the franchise, but the email belt, whatever, you requested a voluntary defense against Gamboa. And he goes, well, yeah, because nobody else wanted to fight us. There we go. Nobody wants to fight us. The old excuse, nobody wants to fight us. And then what happened? He stepped in there against Gamboa, and he couldn't even wobble the guy. A guy that had been stopped before. Well, he hurt his hand. Devin hurt his right hand. Okay, good to know. There's always an excuse. There's always racism. There's always a broken hand. Nobody wants to fight us.
And why do you think he rolls with the LDP?
Pitbull Cruz dropped him like 4 times, man.
But and Mr. BDA, why do you think they ride so hard for Haney? It's because of the access Bill gives them. It's because Bill's wearing shirts now that says LDBC or nothing. You know what I mean? It's got, because Devin's up there slipping in nuts on video and saying stupid shit. And so, again, when you're up there and you're allowing CC the Great, who doesn't want white motherfuckers to think they got over on her, I couldn't even imagine how someone's brain could go there. And that was the first thing they talked about after the Wilder fight. It wasn't break down the fight. It was that type of shit. And then I just saw another video. Just I'm shocked. I didn't realize to the degree it really is over there with a lot of those guys. But that's the fact that that's where Bill Haney decides to go and talk, where, like you said, you can't, no debate. Nobody can call in and challenge him. They'll block you right out. So it's an echo chamber of you get yourself together with 3 low IQ ex-con fucking bigots, and you get to say whatever you want. You get to call him white Jesus. Actually, Trill Boxing, and I don't know, some people say he's just playing a game to fire up other LDBC guys, but a lot of times he'll defend Lomachenko. I don't know if it's genuine, but it just goes to show you, Bill, why don't you call this show and talk that shit? Because you get your dick kicked in with indisputable facts, gates that prove you couldn't have fought Loma then. You know what I mean? Look, because the thing is, and they also pick on the fact that Loma doesn't know English well. He doesn't really mess with Twitter. He says, he goes, yeah, he's the #1 Twitter champ. But guys who have to fucking argue their point on the LDBC, you know what I mean? It just infuriates me. Oh, Steve Kim and Mario Lopez are racists because they giggled at Paul Malignaggi self-deprecating, right? But nobody's nothing. You have the same people saying that have no problem with Bill Haney going on with this woman who says fucking out and out racist shit. They don't even try to hide it.
That's right.
It's just
they can't because like you said, it's a cult over there. It's an echo chamber. That's what a cult does. Isolate people from the outside, and that way there can be no dissent. It's a very good strategy. You got to give it up to them about how easily they were able to pull that off and dupe a lot of their viewers. Shout out to Dennis F from Boston for his contribution with the super chat. He says, Jimmy, they believe the lie. Nothing can do Haney. I think that he means nothing Haney can do wrong. But shout out to Dennis F from Boston, and shout out
Dennis,
to
what's up, buddy?
And shout out to Texas Bulldog says, if you want anything at 135, you got to see Devin Haney. Well, it doesn't even seem like it because even fucking Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia were talking about fighting each other instead of the guy with all the belts. But even then, Haney still has to get past Kambosos again, unfortunately. That would be easy. So he's booked for that. Hey, listen, we got a phone call here, and then I wanted to show something, but. But
Mr. B.A., nobody's disputing that. Nobody's disputing. He's the kid right now. I'm not one of the guys calling him blowing and all that other shit. He got where he got, and he has the belts. Fine, but that's just deflection from what we're talking about. The ignorance, the lies. He's the undisputed champion. Why do you have to lie and say Lomachenko not only him then when we saw that there's no time, but then he came home when it was safe. Bill could have said, nah, man, guys, don't say that. He was over there and we actually owe him a fucking debt of gratitude, because if he would have didn't go to Lomachenko, say Russia wouldn't have fucking attacked Ukraine, he was going to Australia because that's who Kambosos wanted to fight, and he was like, okay, I'll have my fucking training camp there. So the only reason why his son was even able to get those belts is because he went to the Ukraine. So instead of Bill saying that, he says, what Ukraine? Where did he go? He didn't go anywhere. Try to even act like he didn't even go there. And he came back now when it's safe to fight, when he could never have that fight because Kambosos from day one was going to enact his rematch clause. So when the lies become so obvious that even the people who listen to him must know at some level, they must know, okay, this is stupid, Kim, but he was tied up. Why are they saying this? But it feeds the people like Cece who hate white people with such the passion of 1,000 burning suns.
Jimmy,
it just sounds good to them.
It's people that have no scruples. They have no qualms about lying. Even when they're caught red-handed being wrong, they will still maintain. And that's that conditioning, and it's that low self-esteem. They really gotta work through that. Get some therapy or something. Maybe get on some. Maybe some SSRI inhibitors or something, because right now it's not looking good for them. Hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Don Ramon Champ says the dudes from the Boxing Voice were saying that Wilder can sell out a stadium with 70,000 people. You know how he could do that? If he would fight Joshua in the UK. But if he fought any other American in the US, he ain't doing no fucking 70,000.
He didn't even sell out his own hometown, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
When he fought he not even close, actually. It was Bill a little over half, I think, in a 16,000 seat place in Alabama. it's not like a state known for a lot of pro teams. I was actually kind of shocked, but again, it was the level of competition. That's a blue collar area. They're going to be, judicious on what they spend their sports dollar on. What, would we really need to see this dude beat up? What's that guy's name? You know what I mean?
Now, I wanted to bring something else here. Look, Jared Anderson came out in a prison outfit on Saturday's fights. Now, I don't know if maybe his heart was in the right place because they said that he was doing it to pay tribute to his brother who was in jail. But again, I mean, it's a little bizarre for him to do so. But my thing is not so much with Jared Anderson. I mean, if somebody does have something, I guess that he was ill thought or not thought out well properly, I can understand that. But my thing is with the reaction from people. Check this out. Somebody tweeted this: says boxer Jared Anderson made his ring walk in a prison outfit with his hands and feet shackled to honor his brother, who's currently in prison. Now, like I said, what I'm interested in are the reactions from people. So let's take a look at a couple of the tweets that people replied to for that. This guy said, "Fire. I love how my culture is just different. 100%. Then somebody
He should have
else
stepped out with, instead of the shackles, a ball and chain. Because that's like the reason why they call them Crips. Because they used to fucking when they used to walk with the ball and chain.
Oh, is that
right? That's why they call them Crips.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Hey, but he played this, and last time he played a pimp. So I mean, Jesus, can you pick a different character?
Well, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's what he's doing. He's every day is Halloween. Every time he fights. This other person says respect, and he puts a flexing arm. Somebody else said real shit. Let him know you here walking with me. Now that's gangsta. That is gangsta.
They almost got the key. They almost got the key stuck in those shackles, trying to fucking fiddle around and get them off.
Yeah, that could have ended badly, man.
If they key off in those fucking fake shackles, they probably would have fucking had to postpone the fight. The other thing is, it looks like he still had a ball and chain on when he was in the ring because he fights like a big broner. He fights like that Adrian Broner bullshit with the half-ass shoulder roll and that feet 50 yards apart.
Well, people have made the comparison.
He was getting touched, dude, by nobody. Heads up. Just
people have made the comparison. Now, somebody else tweeted elite entrance and came out to Locked Up, which I think is the song. So elite entrance, putting that suit there and that symbolism, that was elite for this guy. And then finally, this person said, or two people rather, one guy goes, what did his bro do? Why is he in prison and why is it being glorified? I get standing with your family, but glorifying crime is just like that guy said, lame. So then this guy replies, he isn't glorifying a crime. He's honoring his brother. Don't mix things or act like you've ever been to prison before. So this guy's pulling rank and saying, you ain't ever been to prison before. You're not a real one. These are the type, this type of behavior. This is why I hope people now understand. This is why a lot of these LGBT people, they even when you present them the facts, they'll lie outright. Or they'll pretend that you know what you're talking about, or they'll act coy. It's just anything to save face, and this is the type of stuff we're dealing with here. So, I'm just putting it out there. Oh, and I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on that before I move on to the next thing here, which is sort of related.
No, you made excellent points. Everything you said had me shaking my head. I'm like, yeah, no, like that's. Maybe you think that might be a problem. I'm just saying. I'm not saying because I know for a fact not all black people think like that, which makes it absurd. But for him to say, like, yeah, that's our culture, show our culture. Like, wait, really? That's what that, you're looking up to, like, you're saying like it's a good thing. Like, it's like, dude, comes to mind, dude, that fucking part in that Liar, Liar, Liar movie. Stop breaking the law, asshole. And he yells into the phone, like, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, dude, are you serious? Like, why are you bragging about that shit? That ain't a good thing. That should be a fucking, it's a good thing? A kid getting accepted into a college on full scholarship because he fucking did what he had to do. I don't know, dude. It's bent. It's bent.
And
I just thankfully that can't be the whole. No way. That's when a logical man would even admit to that. That's nuts. Insultive.
Shout out to I Am Your Leader who says Wilder brought up his statue today, totally unprovoked. Well, there you go. I mean, that's something I would expect from him. And by the way, so shout out to I Am Your Leader. And then finally, another faux pas here, which I think he just misspoke, but it still wasn't a good look. Regis Prograde, the Ruguru, said this on Twitter. When I was a teenager, me and my friends would drive around on the weekends looking for people on the street to beat up and take whatever they had. Looking back on it, I'm surprised I'm still alive. That was the dumbest shit ever. I was young and dumb. Thank God nothing bad ever happened. Now, again, he misspoke there. When he said nothing bad ever happened, I'm assuming he meant nothing bad to him. But people on the internet jumped
never
on
to
him.
get pinched, didn't go to prison. Is what he
Right,
meant.
but then that's the thing, though. People jumped on him and said, well, wait a minute, nothing bad happened. What about the people you robbed? So, I mean, I get what Progre is trying to say. He's trying to look back on that meeting. Oh, listen, this wasn't good. This wasn't good behavior. But
we're all human. We should all have the capacity of forgiveness. I give everybody a second chance, man. A lot of people did knucklehead shit when they were young. Whether you're influenced by friends, it's the culture in your neighborhood. But if you're able to shake that off and learn from it and become a better person, I'm never going to fucking cast stones. Good on you.
But he worded it poorly when he said nothing bad happened. Something bad happened. He was beating people up on the street.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean,
besides the dude who lost their teeth, I mean.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, the elderly Asian women we beat up. You know that. Other than that, but yeah, man, that's the news there going on Twitter. And listen, at the end of the day, we're hopefully people get their act together, because we do need to come together. And this glorification of certain acts is no good. No good, I gotta say. But anyway,
I don't understand the defense of it, though. It's the people coming to their defense, how people go on Twitter, kind of the way Ribbery did, but Ribbery wasn't as big. But these guys, what are you talking about? This is the only fucking place you can go. You don't find racism. It's like, you know, Doug Fish, did you ever see that thread with him when he got into it? You should see that one. I'll dig that up. I'll post that later for you. It's crazy. The shit this guy says to Doug. And Doug just basically called the LBC straight out for their shit.
Yeah, of course. And listen, we're never going to stop doing it. People can say, "Oh, you're clout chasing, blah blah blah." No, we're looking at this like psychiatrists looking at crazy people. That's what we're doing. It's a fascinating case study, and people need to know, because again, the LDBC, what they do is they rile their fanatical followers up with victimhood and race talk, and that's why they get to the top of the heap. So when that happens, the people that write boxing on YouTube, the algorithm shows them those channels first. How many times have we talked to people, and how many times have we had people on the air say, "Well, I didn't know about your channel because I started listening to boxing on the YouTube, listening to these LDBC channels, and then I found this other channels, and I said, whoa, I was completely missing out on real boxing talk." So there you go, man. It just goes to show you that these channels are doing something else. It's not real boxing talk, and it needs to be exposed.
Yeah, BDA. And the whole Pandora box got broken open with Wilder and all them excuses. So now everything from now on is just compensating to kind of like get him like do better than what they show, like their bad character on full display with all them fucking excuses. Yeah, man. So it's like a full out war right now.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, listen, fellas, we have to move on. We have to go. But it was a good little preview here that we had. And we'll be back, I suppose, with another Second Renaissance, perhaps tomorrow or Thursday. No promises on the exact date. I'll let you know on the Discord. But other than that, we do have to go. Fellas, on the Discord, I'll try to jump. If you're still there, I'll try to jump in on my phone because I got to shut down the computer right after I'm done here. But maybe I'll jump on. So don't take it the wrong way if I jump out straight after the off the Discord, all right? In any event, shout out to everybody. Oh, shit. Jimmy sent me the... All right, we'll look at it the next time, man. But we do have to go. So
that's for you.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Pete, who was here, boxing chief as well. Gonzalo, and everybody that called in, everybody that donated with the super chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Always appreciate your support. I'm talking about the Chitlin distributor, Don Ramon Champ, Super Sardonic, Norman Louis. Shout out to Norman. The Quacks. Shout out to the Quacks. Knockout Ned, Eparokua. Great Bingus, So Passive Live. Hit the like on the way out. Hit the like, hit the light. Not the lights. Arkham Inmates.
A lot of the same names, huh? I noticed that. A lot of the same names. You got some loyal guys, man. Good listeners.
Absolutely.
Because they know their shit, man.
That's why I thank them after every show, man, or during every show. So shout out to you, fellas. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.